what I'm saying?
Question is, who is Michelle Obama? Is she really a woman? Is she a man? Especially when every time I look at Michelle or Michael Obama, the first lady or the first tranny.
In 2067, they voted my island the worst place to party. Yet they keep coming back.
I'm lost by the sea, I'm learning to breathe. It's blinding how bright its white sand is. I'm lost in my mind, how
we have a city to burn.
I cannot believe.
When you say Cuba is next.
Cuba. I do believe I'll be the honor of having the honor of taking Cuba. That'd be a good honor. That's a big honor.
Taking Cuba.
Taking Cuba in some form, yeah. Taking Cuba. I mean, whether I free it, take it, I think I could do anything I want with it. You want to know the truth? They're a very weakened nation, right?
If 95% of them can't read, I don't think it's the teachers. And they say, well, it's because they're not getting a good lunch. They're not getting a good lunch. Government needs to give them a lunch. It's like, I don't think it's a lunch either. Have you ever thought that maybe the reason why the parents think it's a good idea to feed them Twinkies and Kool-Aid?
Once again, we send off my war rig to bring back gasoline from Gastown and bullets from the bullet bar.
He's a complete player. Actually, I'd revise that if we're being honest. He's a weapon. You know, when everyone first sees him play, they say, wow, he's lethal on the fast break. And they're not wrong. He's fearless, he respects senior citizens, and he's got an attitude that screams USA. Off the court, he's a model citizen. Loves drinking beer, not light beer, but beer with a capital B. And after he cleared up those DUIs, that's when he really developed some long-range game.
When you stop getting tanked all the time, you can really focus on the stuff that matters, like training long-range buckets, impressing high-quality women with big hearts, and living life for our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. And that's exactly what JD did.
Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're having a wonderful Monday night. The reports of my lateness were not exaggerated at all. I hope you're all doing very well. We have some great news to get into, some highlights for the week for sure. Nothing, too major happened today. The war is over, ? 5 days. We got apologies. We got people back in the news again. We got unfortunate crashes and DEI hires and running over protesters or people, quote unquote, defensively in Teslas. We have lots of wonderful stuff to talk about today. So before we get to that, though, we do have a couple other guests that we should talk about. We got Jake and we got Richard Cranium. Hope you're all doing well. I got a lot of people saying that we need to do the intro again. So, I mean, it would make it about 35 minutes late. It's pretty close. I was actually pretty close to record. I think the last time I was this late, it was about 26, 27 minutes. So it was close.
6, 7.
Yeah. Jake, how's your night going?
My night is going great, John. I'm just happy to be here, enjoying the company of my friends.
I like how you put the friends. You put a little bit of emphasis there. Yeah, we'll see how friendly you are in just a minute when we go over your dirty laundry later today.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
yeah. It's gonna pop up during the stream. I know it is. I know it is.
All right.
Richard, you said you're doing good. You had a stream before. Did it go okay?
Yeah, it went well. I got back from the airport in time to have a little fire, and I was like, yeah, might as well pop on, see who's going to come and join. And I had about 20 of you guys, so glad to see you guys.
You know who else decided to hop out and start a fire is the OnlyFans owner decided to die today of ass cancer. So he's also in the proverbial hot seat right now. Mr. Leonid Radvinsky dies at 43 years old. Yeah, so press S to spit? ? Yeah, died of ass cancer. Tragic loss for Mr. Radvinsky. AIPAC's top donator, all right? The biggest donator to AIPAC. The biggest whoring out of your children, of your future, of your women, the degradation of your society, dead at 43. There's a psalm, I think it is, that when the wicked perish, the righteous rejoice. So, Godspeed out there. Godspeed. We have to start out with a little bit of good news, okay? Also, update on Iran today. Listen up, Iran. I'm sorry. Okay, the peace talks have started, all right? Oh, we got to get to this. The peace talks have started. So we got our good friend Samuel Haida, who is the top negotiator, I am told, started a war with Iran, failed to topple the regime, fails to eliminate their missile program, fails to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. Now he wants to make a peace deal. Well, Tom, did you see the white smoke in Tel Aviv, which means that they've actually picked a new CEO for OnlyFans? They're just waiting to announce it, okay? The white smoke has risen above Tel Aviv. They've picked a new CEO of OnlyFans, so I'm sure it'll be announced soon enough. I'm sure it'll be a very Semitic-sounding name. I can already think of the name in my head. But no, this post from today over on Truth Social. Now, Brandon, I'm going to pick on Brandon here because he's, about to be in Congress, so he'll actually have some skin in the game and some responsibility to handle these things. Ending our involvement in Iran is a must. So far, 13 Americans have died, and that's 13 too many, based. I'm excited to see what kind of deal is being struck, hopefully one that is not only a win for the United States, but one that opens up the people of Iran to a bright future. Yeah, not sure about that last part there, but I don't think they want a Western bright future. I don't think that's in their culture. Okay, and I think that's culture erasure if you try and westernize Iran, okay? Now, this is from Trump today over on Truth Social. I am pleased to report. Fair enough, Mr. Trump. I am pleased. Sigga, please. I am pleased to report that the United States of America and the country of Iran have had, over the last 2 days, very good and productive conversations regarding a complete and total resolution of our hostilities. Notice no mention of Israel in this. In the Middle East, based on the tenor and tone of these in-depth, detailed, and constructive conversations, Witch. He spelled witch like the magical caster. What is going on here? Which, comma, will continue throughout the week. I have instructed the Department of War to postpone any and all military strikes against Iranian power plants and energy infrastructure for a 5-day period. Now, why is this important? Because that runs out on Friday. A 5-day peace deal that ends on a Friday. The last 2 major attacks have happened on a Friday. This is ominous. This is basically a veiled threat. Like, listen, there's a 5-day window here where if we don't get what we want, we're taking Karg Island, okay? We're taking Karg Island if we don't get what we want, which actually, if you notice in the background, is Battlefield 3 Karg Island. So,
John, you got to pull
very
up
appropriate.
RBL's chat there. It's extremely funny.
Where is it? Where is it? You can't pull them up, can you?
I can't, no.
You can't? You don't even have...
I don't have the powers.
Dude, how
He's right
far
above
back
Richard.
is that?
He's right above Richard saying something to chat. It's not a super chat. It's just a regular chat.
I know. I'm looking for it, dude. There's 1,000 chats. What am I supposed to do?
I
don't even see it.
13 up.
So it doesn't show up.
Is it? Oh, it's not in StreamYards. So let me see. Where is it? Where's RBL?
I just broke everything.
Why did you do this?
I'll just read it.
Why don't you just read it? That would be helpful.
He said, "Oh God, please tell me I didn't get that OnlyFans Jew's kidney."
That's true. So RBL, good news. We had somebody. Other good news. We should have started out with this, but we did have RBL who desperately needed a kidney. Got a kidney this morning at like 5 o'clock. So he's now like 10% whiter or something like that. Although I don't know if they do interracial kidney donation. So I mean, he's 10% more correct today, and I'm glad that he's here hanging out, having a good time. But now notice. So back to this.
Yeah.
Gosh dang it, Jake.
I'm sorry.
Back
it's
to this,
John.
Back to the news. Okay, back to Iran. Okay, we are stopping attacks on their power plants and energy infrastructure for 5 days. Israel, probably not. Probably not, because they successfully vetoed or torpedoed, would probably be the more correct term to use, the last 2 peace talks between the U.S. and Iran. Do I have any faith whatsoever that there will be a quick resolution to this? No, not at all. No. Okay. I don't know why they would. They are, well, I'll finish this and then I'll get into it. Why I think it's not going to happen. Infrastructure for a 5-day period, subject to the success of ongoing meetings and discussion. Thank you for your attention to this matter, Donald J. Trump. Now, why do I not believe that this is going to resolve in any way, shape, or form is because as of today, Iran started charging a $2 million passage fee per freighter, which is something like 50 to 100 a day, I want to say. So we're talking about billions of dollars a week for these guys. So yeah, you can pass your freighter through if you pay the IRGC $2 million. They're basically holding these massive tankers hostage, and some people are going to take the money because they need to move product. The product sitting there is costing them more money because what is in these freighters can be, tens of millions of dollars. So $2 million is a hit, of course, but they want to get things moving, things out of the way. So yeah, Iran is essentially just holding the straight hostage and saying, we'll give you safe passage if you pay us $2 million, right? Why wouldn't they? So now they have a means, while they're still getting their own freighters in and out to China and Russia, they can let everybody else go through as well for a little bit of an extortion fee, okay? This is a great money-making opportunity for Iran. So Iran, are they incentivized to quit? Not really. Why would they? They can successfully shut down the strait, or at least threaten, freighters going through, and people are not going to be sending through freighters loaded down with hundreds of millions of dollars worth of product for a 1% chance that they might get hit. That is not a good bargain. Nobody is insuring them. So the freighter companies will probably pay the $2 million, right? Per ship, per vessel. Now, Israel also probably doesn't want the war to end, because that would be a tactical loss on their half. They are getting hammered pretty hard. And I don't know what benefit they would get in ending the war now, considering that they got nothing out of it. The U.S. has gotten nothing out of it. We got higher gas prices. Now, I think combined with the silliness of the whole thing, the reason why Trump put it out this week is to drop oil prices, right? Because this is going to make the market a little bit more hopeful. This is going to seem to be moving in the right direction, that there's peace talks going on. There is a tentative quote unquote ceasefire between the US and Iran for the next 5 days. And so that actually dropped oil prices $10 a gallon, which is, $10 a barrel, which is really good for the US, not so good for Russia. So in that sense, it actually worked quite well as a bit of a bargaining chip to kind of placate the markets. Is it actually going to hold out? I doubt it. I think Trump is quite literally just trying to stave off higher prices for as long as possible. And on Friday or next week or the week after, at some point, I think it is almost inevitable for Trump to take Carg Island in some way, shape, or form. I did mute you, Jake. There was just a little bit of feedback coming through. Yeah. Today, I will say, though, I've remembered that my car takes E85, so I filled up for $2 a gallon with E85 because that price has not been affected very much compared to everything else. Yeah, the copium reserves are being tapped.
I was going to say, the other thing that is to me indicative that this is not going to end in a peaceful resolution is the fact that there's been a lot of talk about mobilizing the 82nd Airborne to the region, which I don't know why you would do that unless you're planning on, putting some boots on the ground.
Well, listen, this is what do they call it? Not feature creep. Goal creep. There's a mission creep. That's the one. Okay. Mission creep. Right. So eventually it's going to be, well, we need to hold Carg Island. It's like, okay, but Carg Island's really close to the mainland. So to protect Carg Island, we need to take the other side. Okay. We need to actually have boots on the ground physically in Iran. It's like, okay, let's do that. Well, really, we need to secure the strait. So we're going to have to put military vessels in the strait. Well, we also need to secure the land. So we're going to need boots on the ground to secure the Iranian side of the strait. And it's like, well, there's a couple military bases kind of close, so we could kind of take those. It's like, well, now we're only a couple hundred miles away from their supposed uranium deposit. So, well, we'll just have to go take those as well. It's like, well, now we might as well take the capital, right? We're here. We got 10,000 people. Yeah. We got 100,000 people. We might as well take the capital, right? And then, of course,
they say, damn, wouldn't it be nice to have a democracy here?
I came to see a functioning country and I left it not that thing. Yeah. That's never going to work. It's going to, and putting more troops in the area in harm's way also has the byproduct of putting them in danger, so that if they do get hit, if they do get, a ship goes down and we lose 1,000 sailors, then that would galvanize a certain part of the Warhawk populace into saying, well, now we're doubling, tripling, quintupling down to put even more boots on the ground, okay? Because they killed our men. We can't not invade. We can't not get into a forever war. And the entire time, Israel's just like, perfect, this is exactly what we need. We need them dead and gone. If we stop now, we haven't gained anything. So listen, Goyam, more dead of you to protect our future, okay? Think about who you're fighting for here. Now, this was just funny that I saw this. There was a gentleman on one of the carriers in the region that violated OPSEC because he was running laps or running, a course on the carrier, keep in shape, which is good, based. However, his Trava app that calculates how far you run and keeps track of your distance, well, it also gave away the position of the carrier because for some reason it was geolocated at the time and uploaded publicly. So little bit of an oopsie.
I know we say Strava didn't happen, but somebody on this aircraft carrier ran 5 miles on their deck and then uploaded it to Strava and gave away the ship's position. So good job on the run. Maybe just write it in a notebook next time.
Yeah, I know just a little oopsie. That is very funny though. Imagine losing $1 trillion piece of equipment because you had to upload your run to Strava to show your bros that you were still getting in your work while on an aircraft carrier. All right, little bit of an oopsie, little silly. Now we do have some extra footage coming out of there. I'm not sure what this is. This is on an airfield outside of Tehran, in the northern part of Iran. If this is some sort of another Moab or another bunker buster, what they're dropping over here, but the secondary explosions here are insane. And what's funny about this specific shot too is this looks like downtown anywhere in the Southwest. Right? This just looks like a normal street anywhere. Like we were in the suburbs of Las Vegas for SHOT Show. And it's like, this is just what that looks like. It looks exactly like this. Very normal, very westernized. There it is. Yeah, no idea what they're dropping over there, but those are the big boys. Jeez. I think this is another angle of the same thing. Go ahead.
I think if I remember correctly on this one, it was some kind of munition cache that got hit, and a lot of that was like secondaries from munitions exploding, which we've seen that in Ukraine. Those are massive, usually massive explosions.
Yeah, another angle of the same thing, basically. Jeez, the shockwave for that guy in the window must have been miserable. But in retaliation today, or about 24 hours ago at this point, because the days are a little messed up, Iran struck Israel's critical fuel hub in the Bazan refinery, hit in Haifa. The facility processes 200,000 barrels daily and supplies roughly 50 to 60% of Israel's fuel, including major shares of diesel and gasoline. So, again, if you hit Iran's infrastructure, they're just going to turn around and do the same. And they've threatened to hit the desalination plants in a lot of the Gulf countries, which they actually depend on that for their water supply. Iran does not. Iran only gets like 5% of its water from desalination plants. A lot of the other Gulf countries, like it's better over half. It's the majority of their water they get from desalination plants. So it's funny because Iran is in the stronger position. They can, not having water is going to make your citizens real unhappy real fast. So they are in a much stronger position when it comes to resources, and they can simply just hold out. Without boots on the ground, there's no way to get them to stop. And even if you put boots on the ground, you're going to have to put on so many over such a long period of time to actually execute what you want to do. It is a nightmare scenario. You might be able to hold a place like Karg Island, but they're just going to launch drones and missiles at you. Because once they don't have it anymore, they can just go scorched earth on it, basically.
Either that or Israel is going to attack the troops, false flag situation. Whatever gets us.
They would never. Wait. Oh,
Hey.
wait. Oh, no. They've done it before. Oh, wait. No.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, so that's a lot of fuel going up. And they're hitting all the infrastructure in the region right now. Here's a high-altitude interceptor, allegedly, if you believe in the Iron Dome. I know there's some skepticism about this, but this is a exo-atmosphere. So this is like right between space and our actual atmosphere, right? So very, very high-altitude impact. If you believe in space. Honestly, this might be just a missile bouncing off the dome, right? Bouncing off the firmament. Yeah. That's a good point, Jake. Always coming in with the hot takes.
The dome.
Yeah. Sorry, what?
Phrasing.
Okay. Now, speaking of our greatest allies and ostensibly the reason why we're in the Middle East right now, I wonder what they think about all of this. I wonder what their thoughts are on American troops being put in harm's way right now.
And the Gentiles must learn their purpose in life is to fight and die for Israel. We Jews are God's chosen people.
Oh, huh. That's awkward. What about a rabbi though? Let's listen to somebody very learned in Judaism, and let's listen to see what he says about the goyim, as it were, the us.
Because the most powerful nations in the world have to go down to their knees. That's what happened to Egypt. That's what's going to happen to America. That's what's going to happen to Germany. That's what's going to happen to France. That's what's going to happen to London. England's going to happen to Poland. That's what's going to happen to Russia. That's what's going to happen to China. That's what's going to happen to North Korea. They're all going to go down. They're all going to go down to their knees, especially the Western ones.
I'm going to keep it real, dogs. I don't think they care about us all that much. I don't think that they actually have our best interests at heart. I don't, for being our quote unquote greatest ally, it really seems like they don't have much care for us. It's just very strange that, their thought leaders in the Orthodox community really just don't seem to like us all that much. And I'm just not interested in, giving our blood and treasure to help these people in the Middle East who would not do the same for us, right? Kind of like helping that one neighbor who's just an asshole. He's just a dick, and he would never help you move, but he's always begging to help you, or for you to help him, right? Kind of like at some point you just be like, no, I don't think so. And then when you help him move, he's like trying to steal your wallet, and like you don't trust him around your kids or your wife, and you're like, I don't know, man. At some point, I don't feel like we should be involved anymore.
Especially the Western ones. The Zohar says that they're going to go down hard for how they treated us over the last 2,000 years. For the destruction of the Second Temple and how they treated us, Hashem's going to take them down hard. He's going to humiliate them and on the world stage. Western countries. Asif, Edom. I'll take that one. That's what I want to see.
That's what I want to see. Oh, wow. He's looking forward to it, right? Because of perceived slights for the last couple millenniums. These people hate Western countries. They will live in them as rootless, urban parasites, because we are just a host nation for them. They don't actually care about us. They don't care about building America. They don't care about building these countries. They will live in them, exist in them, take advantage of them, and then when it starts to fall, they will leave to the next one, right? Nothing more, nothing less.
I don't want anyone to get hurt, but let's move things ahead a little bit. So of course the world's going crazy now. Things are going to be speeding up a lot. But we're almost there, guys. It's happening. This is it. And so, yeah, it's less ethnocentric. It's less ethnocentric. Because the reason God's doing this is for his name in this.
And again, they think that they're going to bring about their Messiah, and their Messiah will quite literally kill or destroy all of the non-Jews, right? And we will worship and serve the Jews, right? That is Judaism. That's what they believe. They believe that you are ontologically different, and not only different, because I also agree that, different races are ontologically different, but of lesser humanity, of lower value, of a subspecies, subhuman, right? You got full human and then the goyim.
World. And his name being made great amongst us, we already think his name's great. It's the world stage where his name is going to be made great. And that's going to be the ultimate fireworks show. That's going to be where the biggest Kiddush Hashem will happen, is when Hashem's name is made great in this world. Amen.
Nah, I think not. I think the thing that happens over and over and over again will just happen again. I think if I was a betting man and I saw the same thing happen 100 some odd times before, I would just believe it's going to happen again. And again, this pattern, actually, if I had to take it one step further, the pattern will continue on indefinitely until the actual end times, when Christ returns, and there will be a mass conversion of these people away from Judaism, away from Satanism, and that will actually usher in the end times. But the pattern will not stop until the behavior stops. The behavior will not stop until they repent and return to Christ, right? And that's probably not going to happen until something very, 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 very terrible happens. That's just the way that it goes historically. And what we see in the Old Testament and even in the New Testament is this cycle, this type, right? So just over and over again, there is this rise and fall and rise and fall and rise and fall. They get powerful, they turn their back on God. They get powerful, they turn their back on God. Christ comes, they deny, they reject him, and there is this, whether you want to call it a divorce or a reckoning, or there's some other language that you can point to in Jeremiah about this sort of thing, and they will simply not return till the very end. But that's not for us to decide when that happens. Just got to deal with it in the here and now. But let's we're 30 minutes in. Let's go ahead and switch gears. Let's get into a little bit of gun news. That wraps it up for Iran today. Hopefully no more news out of Iran for the next 3 or 4 days. And then on Friday night, I'm going to be streaming at 5 o'clock in the morning because, hey, we're invading Karg Island and there's HD footage for us to watch. That's my plan for this week. So also, if that does happen, not to make anybody go out and panic buy, but if there's a couple essentials that you need to pick up soon, if there is a ground invasion, I would guess there's going to be a huge spike in oil prices and probably some other, preparedness essentials. That would be my guess, right? I'm not saying go out and panic buy a bunch of stuff, but you might want to just make sure you're squared away on the edges.
Yep.
That's all. All right. Now, I got to go ahead and share the screen here because it was too big for me to fit on Brave browser. Jake, I do have to ask, how does that gift make you feel for the reaction donation?
I really don't like it at all.
All right.
Actually, I hate it.
Are you sure? Because I did
Yes,
say we were
yes.
going to talk about your dirty laundry, and I'm pretty sure that lady is holding your dirty laundry with her feet. And I was told that was a commission by you specifically. It's like, listen, okay, lady, if you're going to clean my laundry, you have to do it with your feet. No? Fake news? No.
Fake news. Why am I hearing an echo now?
Oh, sure. I think everybody's echoing because I have to play the video. So everybody's muted. We figured it out. They have to mute. And so only unmute when you're going to talk because this is probably going to echo through your speakers because we've got to talk about Tisha or the broken Tishas, the broken shivs, stealth additive works. They've been a topic of conversation for weeks now, whether it's cracked cans, whether it's something that's not fitting, whether it's, delays, fake numbers, stealth changes, all the other stuff that goes along with being a Stealth Additive Works fan. And yesterday, they uploaded a video Micah did to the Stealth Additive Works page going over all of their updates, coming clean on some of the issues, and trying to be as transparent as possible, which I do applaud them for. This is a much better video than anything SIG could possibly come out with. So in the name of transparency for that, I do appreciate it quite a bit. Whether I believe all of the claims and promises, that I'm not quite so sure about, but let's go ahead and listen to the explanations therein.
What's going on, guys? Micah here with Stealth Additive, talking to you about some not so exciting things today. And that
Also, I do want to say that I don't know if Micah's made it super clear that he works for Stealth Additive, but I mean, if you picked it up in the other videos where he talked about them, he says we a lot, which kind of implies that he works with them. So that was my impression, was that he worked with them or for them in some capacity, right? I'm not sure if everybody was aware of that, but you should have been just based on context clues. So Micah does work for them. And when you work for somebody, you get the consequences of whatever that may be. Like if I took a spokesperson job at, let's say, SIG, because they're in the news a lot, and then they come out with their new gun, the 385, and the first batch NDs like instantaneously. Yes, I'm going to pay. I'm going to pay dearly for that, for choosing to be a spokesperson of this company and having to be the face of it, because that is kind of the consequences of your own actions coming into play. Some people say it was an IQ test. I was not aware. Not aware. I mean, he's not a shill, and I don't have anything personally against Micah at all. I've never had a non-pleasant interaction with him, but it's just a natural consequence of your actions. If you choose to work with a company, if you believe in their product, you think it's great, you're on the payroll, you're going to get the criticism that comes along with that. It's just a necessary conclusion, right? It just comes with the territory. So he's not a shill, he just works for them.
That is a lot of the speculation and drama around our failings of the Tisha. The Tisha experienced a major flaw in manufacturing where it was cracking on the chamfer around the mid-vents. There was a lot of speculation on the internet and the chamfer around the mid.
Yeah, so that's basically broken. Now, that was what was floating around on Reddit for probably over a month at this point. It's been several weeks where cracked Tishas, broken Tishas, cracked shivs have been floating around, and they all kind of popped up within like a 2-week time span. So something definitely seemed to be up. They sold some as blems. That's obviously not a blem. That's a very, very, very broken product that should not be sold in any way, shape, or form. And so people are obviously asking the question, how could you sell that as a blem when it's just obviously broken? That's not a blem, that's broken.
Events. There was a lot of speculation on the internet and a lot of people calling us out for shipping these out cracked and all these crazy stories. And we're going to get on here and actually tell you guys from our end what happened.
Well, again, that's not a crazy story, right? Because if we just consult the graph again, it just was, whether it cracked in shipping or whatnot, customers received a product that was completely faulty.
Out cracked and all these crazy stories. And we're going to get on here and actually tell you guys from our end what happened and be as transparent as we possibly can. When the Tisha launched, we were extremely underprepared for the sheer volume of orders to the point where we had to order 2 new printers that came with new processes that were unknown to us. We were under the impression that with these new printers, there was no stress relief process that needed to take place post-printing. We were wrong. These cans would come off of the printer, get coated, milled, packaged, and shipped in our possession just fine. There was no crack and everything was good. By the time they made it to manufacturers, or sometimes even just sitting on the shelf, they would crack. They were under.
That is crazy to me. I'm not a material expert. I'm not a manufacturer in any way, shape, or form, but that sounds crazy to me, right? That they're under such internal stress with no stress relieving process that just sitting there, like they're so brittle. Maybe that's just a property of Inconel, but that they're just sitting there under so much stress that they just fall apart. They crack horrendously. Maybe that's the case. Maybe that's true. But either way, it is it's also, I think it's fine to say why it happened or to give some sort of example. I don't know how much it really matters to the end user at all. You can give them the explanation of why, how it happened or whatnot, but I think they shipped off something like 65 of them, which is, that's almost $100,000 worth of bad cans in that time frame. And it is also a very, very common pitfall is you have a very hyped product that has insane claims, right? Like literally the best ratings on Pew Science, hyped on Reddit. Micah Mayfield, who's a big influencer in the space, pushing it, also works for them. It's going to get a lot of hype. It's going to get a lot of sales. Oh, shoot, we're not ready for that kind of volume because there's literally 2 of us starting out. Like last year, it was literally 2 of them. And then they're like, oh, shoot, well, let's grab a bunch of machines, print, hire a few new people, print. Oh, crap, it all went wrong. Now, again, if you personally want to give them a lot of leniency because they're a new company, because they're expanding rapidly, that's fine. For me, I'm not affected by this. I don't care, right? I never bought one. I wasn't lied to. I didn't believe the claims. I don't care about the claims particularly, but I also don't have to give them the benefit of the doubt. You don't have to either. I don't think that's owed to anyone specifically. Like they're a company, they're selling a product. You buy the product, it's not the thing, not a good deal, right? If you personally want to give them leniency and say, well, I'm still rooting for them. I hope the claims are true. I hope that they get it all sorted out. Also a perfectly fine reasoned position.
Too much stress, and eventually they would give up the ghost. Now, what we should have done at that point is just simply recalled those cans and fix the problem. We made the mistake of saying we can sell these as blems as it's just an external crack. That being said,
that's insane. That part shows the decision-making process, right? Now, that's why that is important. If you see, it's just an external crack. Fun fact, my $800 suppressor, blem price, full price I think is $1,200. Fun fact, my $1,200 can, $900 blem should never be cracked on the outside. I just don't think that should ever be cracked. I think that's fair enough. I would like a uncracked suppressor, okay? That's bad decision making, okay? And that is a pattern recognition software update, okay? It's like, how does Stealth Additive Works deal with good products versus bad products versus blems? Well, in the past, they shipped literal cracked cans at a slightly reduced price and said, well, this should be fine.
Some were significantly worse. All 65 cans ended up getting recalled and not sold as blems because that was simply the wrong move.
Well, they were sold as blems, but they did recall them after the fact, which is the correct thing to do. Should have been done at the beginning. If they just simply hadn't shipped them, it would have been much better, right? But yeah, no, you did sell them as blems, then you recalled them later, which is a mistake.
They were replaced with cans that are now undergoing heat treating and stress relief process.
This is true. Task Force Stater says someone tell them blem means blemish, not defective. Yeah, there's a wide gap between blem product and defective product.
And since then, the issue has been completely remedied. Again, this was our failure. We should have known that this new printer did in fact need to be stress relieved. And it's unfortunate that these ended up making it into the hands of dealers and customers with that issue. Now, going forward.
Yeah, perfect. All right, take accountability. It was our bad. It was a lapse in judgment, failure in decision-making, failure in manufacturing. We recognized the problem, thought we could get away as blems. That was the wrong thing to do, okay? Now, whether that's like a sorry I got caught or sorry it was just a lapse in judgment, I'll let you guys be the judge of that. Again, not my deal. I don't really care one way or the other. But I did see a lot of simpery for Stealth Additive Works. And again, to me, they're just another 3D printing company. There's going to be, if not dozens, hundreds of them popping up, right? It's going to be a lot of them popping up with $0 tax stamps, telling you some outlandish claims because they bought a 3D printer or they've figured out how to get somebody else to print for them, right? There's going to be a lot of these guys popping up with really big claims, with low-cost products, with high-cost products, and it's, if you want to believe them and give them the benefit of the doubt, totally fine.
We are not just confident, we are sure that this issue will never show itself again.
Now, that line right there, I did have to edit some of it out because he's shooting and we're on YouTube, but just the last couple seconds there, I'm going to tell you, Micah, this is the thing, okay? You attach your name to it. That clip, I am going to use that anytime this pops up in the future, if it pops up in the future, right? Now your reputation is blemished. Because that's the thing, when you say this will never happen again, I can already see the memes being made, right? This will never happen again. Music comes in and then it flashbangs to a picture of a broken Tisha, right? Or it flashbangs to a picture of a broken Shiv, you know? I can already see the meme potential here when you say a statement like this will never happen again when you're a very new company undergoing a lot of expansion. So I personally would say we will seek to make sure, you know, I would have softened that phrase a little bit personally because I already see the meme potential.
Dealers and customers with that issue. Now, going forward, we are not just confident, we are sure that this issue will never show itself again.
Now, this is the new system with 3 belts. So he did some belt-fed full auto testing and showed you the blast baffle. Show me your hashtag, show me your blast baffle. After 3 belts, and again, it looks like a Tisha blast baffle, so it looks fine.
An old one.
Unfortunately,
I believe that's a new one. So just showing you that the problem is like it's handling the heat because he put 3 belts through it. So we're talking way beyond full auto rated, way beyond what most suppressors would hold, like belts of full auto through it.
this issue reared its head in another product line of ours, and that is the Shiv. The Shiv, if you're on Reddit, you've seen multiple posts of customers with cracked Shivs. They were also not stress relieved, printed on the same machine, and began cracking.
Rads, I'm glad I don't know who that is. I can assume of whom you're referring to or the type of person you're referring to, but I'm glad I don't know who that is.
It's no coincidence that you started seeing both of these posts appear on Reddit at the exact same time, and you never saw the cracking before when we were using our previous printer. Every single Stealth Additive Works can does come with a lifetime warranty, and at some point, something is going to slip through the crack, and unfortunately, our crack just happened to be our suppressors. Let us know. We prioritize our warranties and send new cans out as fast as humanly possible to our customers. As infrequent as this may be, and it may seem frequent because it was one big batch of suppressors that went out and started popping up all at the same time, we're still getting those RMAs for the shivs, and customers are getting shipped new.
This is very similar to, if you guys remember a year and a half ago, the Sierra 5, I want to say, from Dead Air. They had a bunch of them just blowing up, because I want to say that was one of their first 3D printed cans for like a 556, duty quote unquote can. And they had a lot of those that were obviously not properly stress relieved, because as they thermal cycled, they just started to blow up, which is not great. You don't want that for your cans.
New cans pretty much as fast as forms allow. And the second topic that we're going to be talking about is the blast baffle change that took place on.
Well, I mean, he saying we when he's the spokesperson for the company is the proper terminology. He works for them. He's paid by them. He admitted so in the Instagram post in the comments, which I think my comment's still the top comment on that. He is a spokesperson for them, right? So saying we in this case is real because he's on the payroll.
The titanium model only. The Inconel model that we'll be releasing in April is still the 1-to-1, which as fast as forms allow. And the second topic that we're going to be talking about is the blast baffle change that took place on the titanium model only. The Inconel model that we'll be releasing in April is still the 1-to-1 design tested by Pew Science. However, on the titanium model, we started to get a little unimpressed with the longevity of the blast baffle, so we redesigned the blast baffle to be significantly more durable without sacrificing sound performance.
Now, that part is another bit of the Tisha drama, if you're not familiar. So there was a stealth change between the model that Pew Science tested, which was the reason why people were buying these cans, is because it was not good. It was not very good. It was the best by a significant margin, on Pew Science datasheet in most of the categories. Like almost too good to be true, you could say. Almost. However, then after the fact, people receive a version of a Tisha that's different than what Pew Science reviewed, and you're like, wait a second, that doesn't seem right. It doesn't seem appropriate that I spent a lot of money on a can based upon X numbers, and then I receive a can that's materially different. It's like, that's actually not very cool now. I actually don't approve of that in the slightest. Now, the reason for that, they're claiming, is that the initial blast baffle that's more complicated, has different architecture, is strong enough in Inconel, but in titanium, not so much. So they made it a lot simpler, a lot more robust, and alleging that they get the exact same sound suppression. Is that true? I don't know, because that one hasn't been tested by Jay, if you take Jay's word at all.
A lot of people have been speculating that we intentionally made the design worse. To us, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. If we can improve our product, we will improve our product. However, we failed to educate the customer on the change before we made it. And we acknowledge that as being incorrect.
Yes, you do not make changes to the product and not tell customers that are paying you lots of money for the product. That would be a no-no. That would be oopsie. That would be, especially when you're the face of the company, it looks bad on you, basically, right? Because I don't know what Zane looks like. I don't know what anybody else at Stealth Additive Works looks like. I know what Michael looks like, though. So when you're talking about the product and you're the guy, you're the front man, it's going to look bad on you when there are stealth changes. Stealth Additive Works, stealth changes to a product that people paid a lot of money for.
We are learning here, so we're asking for a little bit of grace as this company grows. To allow us to grow with you. We did experience a little bit of growing pains. Along with these two new machines came a whole new building and new processes, new employees, way faster than we ever intended. And obviously this showed in a period of our products. As far as the blast baffle changes, in our testing, we are getting 3 to 4 times the lifespan on this baffle without compromising sound performance whatsoever. We are...
Now, I agree that it's more durable because if you look, I don't have a picture of it handy, but if you look at the difference between the old baffle, it's a very complicated design, right? An Inconel is strong enough. And the new one is much simpler. It's basically just a brick wall of titanium. It's a lot more material, so the weight's going to be a little bit different. Still lighter than Inconel, of course. But is the sound performance actually going to be the same? I don't know how you would make it better while changing the airflow and reducing internal volume because you're adding material. So I don't know how it could possibly be better. I mean, I'll take your word that it's mostly the same. But I mean, honestly, I don't know if I believe the J numbers of the Tisha to begin with, right? Because it's so much smaller. It has to be 2.5 times as efficient per internal volume as the next best can. 2.5 times better per internal volume. And again, it's just like maybe they did break physics, but much like ambient arms, which I may or may not have pictures of that cut in half. You know, it turns out maybe they were just lying about everything.
Making mistakes, and I don't expect these to be our last mistakes. And we do apologize sincerely. You know, as we grow, we can only continue to learn and improve. And that's what we're going to continue to do. So thank you to all of our customers for calling us out. We are not impervious to advice. We are highly critical of our products and ourselves. We're highly critical of how we do business. And we hope to earn your guys' trust going forward. Thank you guys. From me personally and from the Stealth team, we are sorry. We can only strive to do better.
Fair enough. You know, it's a nice, and again, I'm being really hard here because that's my job. My job isn't a softball. Why would I do that? That's really lame. My job is to be hard on companies because I think companies should be beholden to the customers, and that's you guys, right? As I'm beholden to my audience, I think companies have to be beholden to their customers, and I think that we should strive to hold all companies to a very high standard, because when we don't, we end up with things like PSA that just is allowed to put out garbage product after garbage product after garbage product, and then they just get sucked off in the comment section because some poor retard doesn't know the difference between good and bad if it slapped his dick across his face. But I digress. So Stealth Additive works, acknowledging the problems, taking some responsibility there. I think it is a good message. It's good enough, okay? But what they need to do going forward, they must do going forward, is deliver good products, is deliver products that perform as advertised, that do the thing, okay? And not make any more stealth changes. Stop updating your product, just sell it, okay? You know, figure out your machines, figure out your crap, and move forward. You guys can talk now, by the way. I took off the screen.
No more echo. Okay. My thoughts on the whole thing. I watched the video when it came out, and I thought, you know, it's great that they're owning up to this. Interesting for Micah to come out of the closet as being on the payroll. It was kind of assumed, but yeah,
there were
still
context
at the end of
clues.
the day, it seemed like there was some. It was almost like they admitted to doing something wrong without really owning up to it completely, because they said, we made the mistake of shipping these out. What he should have said is, we were greedy and we shipped these out knowing that they were totally like fucked, essentially. And we're retarded. I mean, not even Palmetto Armory does that with their blims. Their blims aren't that bad. I would expect
their blims are functional.
They're functional.
I mean, kind of.
Expect
some of their non-blemmed products aren't functional. Actually, I take that back.
That's true. But I'm just saying, like, that's not a blim. It is a defective product, and to just say, oh, we messed up, we thought we could get away. They basically thought they could get away with it. If it wasn't for us meddling kids, is what it is. They're Scooby-Doo villains, essentially. That's my takeaway from this whole thing.
Yeah, and again, keep in mind, this is what we're talking about arriving to customers. This is a $1,200 can, by the way. $1,200 can. I do want to read. I'm going to get to some of your guys' super chats about the actual saw real fast. Say your piece, Richard.
I didn't appreciate how he said we didn't educate the customers on the baffle change. It's like, dude, no, that's so condescending. It's like it was a bait and switch because your product failed. You knew it failed. You had to redesign it. And then it's like, well, we didn't educate you. No.
Educate seems like the wrong word. Yeah, we didn't tell our customers we swap stuff on the product because
Also-
the original design was not as good.
Also, a message for Micah, just from my heart, me, Mr. Zorps. If people make fun of you now, you're the face of Saw. So if people make fun of you, please don't cry about it. Just do better. Like, do good business, make a good product. Don't disappoint your customers, and then people won't make fun of you. They might still call you fat, but go to the gym.
Thank you for that. Thank you, Jake. All statements made by members of the team here are fully endorsed by Focus Trip. McCown for 10 says average height of a Saw employee is 4'9". I think Micah's a little shorter than I am, which is like 5'1", because I'm 5'3". So I think Micah's 5'1", 5'2". We might be the same height. I don't remember. But yeah, he's not helping the average height, that's for sure. But neither am I. So, Amright Boy for 2 says, who got fired for not doing the stress relieving? That's the thing. No one. Nobody got fired there. It was a big oopsie. There's only like 3 people there. There's only like, if you listen to Zane, I think it's 5 people total, including Micah. So it's like, who are you supposed to fire? Not a lot of people there. It's like 3 machines. Pauly B for 2 says lifetime warranty. Mofo silencer was stillborn. Whoa, that's not entirely inaccurate. Tusk for 3, sorry. Toilet Tisha, great Outcast song. I'll take your word for it. I'm not familiar with that one, Tusk. Thank you very much. Tulip for 2 says, imagine paying $1,000 so they can learn. That's right. We're learning along with you. It's like, I don't want to learn. When I'm buying a product, I'd prefer not to learn anything. I really, when CZ or when SIG uses me as the beta tester when I paid full price, I actually don't appreciate that. I dislike that. I dislike that greatly. I would like to not field test your products when I pay retail. Tulip for 5 says, highly critical of our own products, but will knowingly ship cracked cans. Okay, buddy. Again, that's going to look bad at their decision-making process. It is a big no-no, a big red X, okay? If you're looking for red flags about somebody's past, this is one of them. Thank you, Tulip. Appreciate that, sir. Rad's Arms for 5 says, maybe they have a working capital issue. Ship the product and collect the money and deal with it later once the money starts to come in. That's possible. But if they shipped out like a couple batches of cans, 65 in total that were bad, that's about 6 figures. And I'm pretty sure they have hundreds of cans on back order. So we could be looking at, potentially $1 million worth of back orders, depending on how many cans they've sold or pre-sold.
Has everybody gotten their money back? Everybody who received a t-shirt?
Well, they weren't giving them money back. They were giving them a fixed product and then an additional like $99 22 can, I want to say. The click.
Cool.
I think that was the makeup process there, which is something.
Was there an offer for a full refund?
That I'm not sure about. Now, also, I don't know who's backing them, but they do have their own printers. So they have 3 printers, which is like $1.5 million. So I don't know how they would have capital issues if they couldn't fix like 65 cans. Maybe they stretched themselves too thin. It was a lot of hype all at once because of Jay, because of Micah, of course. So if you don't have your stuff on lock, it's like if Grantham hypes up a product to no end, it's going to sell out. And if it starts having failures, it looks bad on Grantham. So you just got to have your stuff on lock. You got to have it set up to go.
Also reviewed them.
Admin results said, yeah, but Micah's like, he actually works for them. Whereas admin just talks about things positively sometimes. That's all. All right. Well, we're going to look at another video now because CZ also wanted to be part of the drama train. Okay. They were like, hey, we can't have Stealth Additive Works taking all the heat. Okay. What if we had a P320-esque issue with our Shadow 2s? Okay. Now, I am going to be sharing my screen again, but I'm not going to be sharing audio. So your guys' audio should still be good to go because there is no audio on this video. But this is at a match that Gat Ponderer was at. I want to say this is part of his club or one of the clubs that he attends for a USPSA style match. Gat Ponderer, if you're not familiar, is the long-haired gentleman of Gun Thoughts. So if you like Gun Thoughts, this is from his AO, and he was giving some information on this gentleman. I'm just going to let the clip play, and then we'll dissect it and see what happened, because this guy's gun, for some context, is a CZ Shadow 2. Yeah, very gay, very gay. I also own a CZ Shadow 2. I shoot a CZ Shadow 2 a couple times a week. His is a fully Cajunized gun, which has some lightened components. Mine is also a fully Cajunized gun, so this is a little bit personal to me. But if you notice here, goes to draw, and a little bit of excitement there as the gun NDs, UDs inside of his holster into his toe. Now, it grazed his toe, so it didn't, fortunately, he didn't lose anything. I don't know if he even really bled at all, but it was through his shoe right next to his toe. Very, very lucky. Now, you guys don't have to mute, by the way, unless you're just muting your audio, because there is no audio here.
Yeah. So this is not good, obviously. The difference here, because I know it's comparing it to the SIG issue, the difference here in my mind is that the stock CZ Shadow 2 is already known to not be drop safe. And they just like, I think they just kind of own that. They're like, yeah, probably don't carry this.
Well,
I'm wondering what all, you said it was Cajunized?
Cajunized. Well, I'll get into it. So CZ Shadow 2s are a competition handgun. They have no firing pin block, no firing pin safety. They are exactly the same as 99% of 2011s on the market. 2011s are not drop safe. CZ Shadow 2s are not drop safe. That is just how that works. Now,
speaking of fire pins, do we know if it was a stock firing pin or not?
No. So when you Cajunize a gun, Cajun Gunworks, they do a lot of work on CZ Shadow 2s. When I bought my CZ Shadow 2, it had previously been Cajunized. The previous shooter who had it had about 10,000 rounds on it. I've shot about 10,000 rounds through my Cajunized Shadow 2. So the Shadow 2, when you Cajunize it, usually it's going to be a trigger reach reduction kit, which is going to shorten your double action pull considerably. It is going to be a reduced power firing pin spring, which keeps the firing pin in tension so the hammer can actually hit it. You can have a speed hammer. You can have a reduced mainspring hammer. You can have a different sear. You can have all of these parts changed out. The stock Shadow 2 has a 9-pound double action pole, which you're like, whoa, that's really heavy. It is a little heavy, but then when you get into the single action, it's about 3 pounds. The Shadow 2 is objectively the best carry optics gun on the market for USPSA, for you nerds out there, until the Waltz 9 becomes carry optics available, and then that will be the best one on the market. But for carry optics, the CZ Shadow 2 is a weapon, okay? It is the best gun out there. It's the best shooters use it. It's the CZ Shadow 2. When you Cajunize a gun, your double action pull goes from 9 pounds to about 6 pounds. And your single action pull, mine is sitting at 1.8 pounds. It is insanely lightweight for a fully Cajunized Shadow 2 single action is insanely good. My trigger pull on my Shadow 2 is better than, again, almost any 2011 on the market. And Shadow 2s are kind of cheap guns. They're like $1,200, which for a competition is very cheap, right? I shot a $4,500 MPA the other day, which is a really nice 2011. Shot great. Great shooting gun. But in comparison to some of the high-end guns, the Shadow 2 is very cheap. And again, it is a weapon when it comes to the carry optics division, which is why a lot of people run it. Now, allegedly, this shooter here was shooting it in double action with the hammer down. Now, with the hammer down, if the gun is not dropped, I don't know how it is possible for it to go off. Because the hammer is down. Because in carry optics with the Shadow 2, you have to start in double action. So you go double and then everything else is in single. If you're in limited optics or in another division, you can have it in single with the safety on. This shooter allegedly was running it in double action with the hammer all the way down. That's how you're supposed to start it. There is a half cock position for Shadow 2s where it's like a quarter cock, really. You're not supposed to start there. If the RO is not paying attention, you probably could get away with it. But the hammer is supposed to be all the way down. When it is all the way down, it would take a drop onto concrete to get it to go off. And the times that the Shadow 2 actually has a kill count is that it fell onto concrete on the back, barrel up, and then shot the competitor, right? Or shot the RO. I forget which one of them it killed. But the Shadow 2 literally does have a kill count, as do several other handguns, because they are not drop safe. They just are not. It's known that they are not drop safe guns. Going off inside the holster with the hammer down would seem to be impossible unless the hammer was fanned slightly. So like you just partially pull back the hammer as you're drawing and your thumb hits it and then releases a little bit before it catches, or the hammer was already in like a quarter cock position, and as you're jostling it around, because the sear could be worn out, the hammer engagement surface could be worn out, it slips as you're grabbing the gun, and just that tiny little quarter cock position, a third in position, gets that enhanced firing pin, that lengthened firing pin, to set off a very soft federal primer. It could be a combination of enhanced firing pin, a slightly quarter cocked hammer slip, hammer fan a little bit, and then like a really outwardly seated, very soft federal primer. It could be some combination of parts there. The competitor himself has put out some more information on it, saying he was able to get it to go off by hitting the back of it with a hammer, pretty hard, which is correct. That simulates the same impact as dropping it. It's the same thing. It has a very lightweight firing pin safety spring, because that's usually what you do when you Cajuinize it, whereas the stock one is a little bit harder, so you need to hit it a lot harder. You need to drop it a lot further before it goes off. But when you Cajuinize a gun, you are objectively making it less safe. That's just how that goes. You are making the gun less safe.
Now, what if, and just bear with me here, the CEO of 6 Hour, Mr. Cohen, is it? Mr. Cohen performed some kind of ritual involving a chicken, possibly, maybe some foreskins, and manifested the firearm going off in his holster in order to draw attention away from SIG's issues?
That is very possible. However, again, I don't even view this as a CZ issue. This is a gun that has had every single part in the process modified. The trigger shoe is different. The reach reduction kit is almost certainly installed. It almost certainly has a different sear. It has a different hammer. It has a different mainspring. It has a enhanced firing pin. It has a lightened firing pin safety. All of these things, every single part in the chain of ignition has been changed, right? So, and then it's like probably reloaded ammo with the softest primers imaginable. So it is literally every single component in the ignition chain has been made specifically for it to be easier to go off. Every single part.
What if he just did a little sneaky there after he put the gun in the holster and pushed the hammer back a little bit, try to get that single action trigger pull?
Okay, so like I have a Shadow 2. I can't
I'm not
pull
trying
it
to
up
call
on
him
screen.
out,
No. I can't pull up my Shadow 2 on screen for all of you guys, but if you're a retard and you start in double action and then upon your draw, fan the hammer to get it into single action, you're a retard. You should not do that. You should never do that. You should be disqualified for doing that. All right. There should be at no point in time where you have a 1.8 pound trigger pointed at yourself. Right. That is just a recipe for disaster. You don't have full control of the gun. If you try and do that and drop the gun and slip the gun because you're trying to mess with the hammer during your really fast draw stroke, you might win a Darwin Award, but more importantly, somebody around you might pay for your failures. Okay. Now I got it slowed down. I got it zoomed in so we can actually just look and see what happened. So you can see it does not come out of the holster. Very important. It does not come out of the holster. And I got one more here. So you can see the gun goes off. You can see the slide right there. The slide right there is much further back than it should be. his thumb does look to be touching the hammer. So I'm not sure if that's just part of the process of if you do a standard draw, you get your hand around the gun and then onto the gun and then draw. Again, just hitting the gun with your hand, it should not be possible to get the gun to go off. The holster that he's using is like a really standard holster. It's not like one of those special like internal locking ones. My Ghost holsters have a little ball bearing inside of the trigger guard, but it does not, there's no way for it to actually interact with the trigger on my holsters. His is more of a bucket style, so it's not, there's nothing inside of the trigger like actively retaining it from what I know. So it, in some way, the hammer had to move. In my opinion, the hammer had to move. I don't know how you get a CC Shadow 2 to go off with the hammer down without some like hammer-like input. And unless this guy's hands are made of steel, this is the actual Superman Man of Steel, I don't know how he could get a gun to go off by just grabbing it. Like, oh, before he gets his hands on the gun, it goes off. So, in my opinion, the hammer had to be back in some way, shape, or form. So whether that is because he had it in like a quarter cock position, and because these are all aftermarket components, it just slipped off, whether it's because he accidentally touched the hammer with his thumb, whether it's he intentionally touched the hammer with his thumb, you know, we don't exactly know. But you can see them reacting there. So here it is again. And you can see the gun goes off like before he even gets his hand on it. It is deep inside his holster. It does not, at no point it comes out. You can see the slide jump to the rear in that one frame. You can see the slide jump to the rear as he's touching the gun. And again, if I had to guess, okay, I don't know for sure. This is pure conjecture on my part. If I had to guess, he touched the hammer or it was on quarter cock. So I think if he accidentally like lifted, like as he's getting around the gun with his hand, he accidentally pulls the hammer back a little bit right before it catches on the quarter cock, half cock position, and then drops it, right? So he pulled it the maximum amount of distance before it would catch and then dropped right onto that extended firing pin with the reduced firing pin safety spring with the very soft primer, and it got everything to set off. The Mighty Quinn says it looks like he was trying to cock the hammer. Again, whether that's accidental or intentional, I don't know. If it was intentional, you need to stop doing that. That is not the way the gun is designed to run. Because again, even the Shadow 2, a competition gun with fully cage knives, mine has a 6-pound double action pull. So I'm not really worried about an ND or a UD with a 6-pound trigger. I'm really not. I know the gun's not drop safe, but neither are 2011s, right? So I don't really care all that much about it. But if you try and do something stupid like this, you're going to have recipes for disaster. Now, I don't run my Shadow 2 in single action for like limited optic start, so I never have the hammer back safety on. If I dry fire that, like I make sure the safety stays on until there's like a red on the target. That's the only time the safety comes off when I do that. Because if you are drawing the gun and in process of drawing the gun and the safety is off while it's still pointed at you and you got a 1.8-pound trigger, I dislike that. I think you are asking for something to go wrong at some point and somebody to catch a bullet. I dislike that greatly. What are you watching? Did you put Alyssa Liu on in the background? Our Gooner bait material Jake's posting over there. Unbelievable.
John, it's not Gooner bait, okay? She is America's darling, all right? This is Americana right here, all right, buddy?
True. Dude, I should have set myself that. I should have set myself that image. She's one MAGA cock away from leaving woke-tardism. But I don't have it here. Tragic. All right. Well, let's see. What do you guys think about all this? You guys think CZ's even more gay now or less gay now? I'm curious. Lots of people talking about Jake's dogs in chat, which is very funny. I do find that hilarious for many reasons.
When are they ever not talking about that? It seems to be a prolific issue in this community.
Mm-hmm. Yep, it's iconic.
It's constant.
Speaking of iconic, though, I did see that over on Rumble, Mr. Noom for $20 says, give us the full length toe vids. Oh, believe me, Jake's toes are full length, fully extended.
Funny, this is a song of the summer shit. You know it's funny. Walk on stage with no shoes on. All I need is feet, boy, I'm too gone. Hey, Jake money, big toe money. This is a song of the summer shit. You know it's funny. Walk on stage with no shoes on. All I need is feet, boy, I'm too gone. My feet feel good, your feet where they should. Y'all just sitting in the grass with a cigarette. Jake money, big toe money. That's a bigger check. Walking in, everybody.
Toes fully erect. Jake, I got more bad news, dude. I have more bad news. Where'd it go? Tulip for $20. CZ grazed. Toe money.
Don't get to hide those piggies. What's wrong with you, Jake? Why are you so scared?
That's a good one, but I do have to play it. I gotta play it. $20. I gotta play it, Jake. I'm sorry.
This is a song of the summer shit. You know it's funny. Walk on stage with no shoes on. All I need is feet, boy, I'm too gone. Hey, Jake money, big toe money. This is a song of the summer shit. You know it's funny. Walk on stage with no shoes on. All I need is feet, boy, I'm too gone. My feet feel good, your feet where they should. Y'all just sitting in the grass with a cigarette. Jake money, big toe money. That's a bigger check. Walking in, everybody.
More of a fan of the Greek feet. Okay, the Greek feet. What's $40? Okay, I had to do it. I had to hit him with it. You know, I had to do it to him. Okay, well, let's get into a couple other pieces of gun-related news so far. Our Vandalay does say for 5, though. Speaking of toes, did Jake insure those dogs in case he's around CZs? It's true. Could have grazed your moneymakers there, Jake.
No, I haven't gotten around to that yet. Thanks for reminding me, Mr.
you're
Art Vandalay.
Mr. Vandalay. All right, here we go. Well, I put him on the thumbnail. We got to talk about him again. Mr. Jason Wong of Hurricane Butterfly and a few other places. He's back in the news again. Now, I pulled up this article, which I may or may not be mentioned in because of a video I did on the gentleman. But a prominent Nampa gun arms dealer arrested on rape charges. Now, this was about a year ago now. I actually saw Jason Wong at SHOT Show a couple months ago. So he did beat the charges. So these are all allegations, or I guess you could say disproven allegations according to the court system. So this is just, some of the run-ins that the gentleman has had in the past, some of the accusations against him, which again, the courts did adjudicate him as not guilty, or the charges were dropped. I don't quite remember. But the reason why he is back in the news is we have Arms Unlimited versus Combined Systems Tactics, Combined Systems Inc., Combined Tactical Systems, Paul Ford individually, Hurricane Butterfly, Jason Wong, and Jason Wong individually. So, and a few other people as well. So Arms Unlimited is now suing the formerly charged Jason Wong for reasons we'll get into. So why don't we just go ahead and read these off, shall we? We'll go through this together. We'll have a fun time reading legal documents on stream. Just treat it like Focus Trip Legal ASMR. Arms Unlimited, by and through its attorney of record, Jared B. Jennings, Esquire of law firm, blah, 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 blah. Let's go to the complaints here. Hurricane Butterfly, Jason Wong. All right. So, general allegations. Plaintiff incorporates the allegations in the preceding paragraphs as though fully set forth herein. On or about March 1st, 2024, plaintiffs and CTS entered into a written domestic distributor agreement, a copy of which is attached hereto as Exhibit A. The agreement designated Nevada as plaintiff's non-exclusive territory, but contained no prohibition on sales outside Nevada, except for a surcharge remedy in Section F. The agreement was effective for 12 consecutive months, or until superseded by a subsequent agreement. Section blah, 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 if CTS believes a distributor is in breach of the territory provision, such a distributor shall incur a surcharge of 20% plus freight over blah, 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 blah. does not authorize termination as an alternative or additional remedy for territory violation to the extent any ambiguity exists between Section F and Section X regarding remedies for territories, blah, 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 blah. Throughout the 12-plus month relationship, CTS never enforced the territory restrictions. Plaintiff sold product nationwide, including into California, with CTS full knowledge and acceptance. CTS issued order confirmations, accepted payment, issued credits for federal excise tax, and shipped product without objection. No written warnings were ever issued, no surcharges were ever applied under Section F, and no objections were raised when Arms Unlimited took inventory into full possession to fulfill immediate nationwide law enforcement needs. On October 16, 2025, CTS itself provided plaintiff with documentation authorizing international sales conduct clearly outside the Nevada territory, further demonstrating CTS's acquiescence to out-of-territory sales activity. In reliance on the agreement and CTS's consistent non-enforcement of territory restrictions, plaintiff invested significant capital in stocking inventory, marketing, including twice yearly printed catalogs mailed to approximately 12,000 law enforcement agencies and email campaigns to over 300,000 subscribers, exhibitions of live product demonstrations, and customer outreach. Plaintiff became CTS's fastest growing distributor, generating $500,000 in new revenue in a single year and setting forecasted annual sales goals of $1 million in 2026 and $2 million by 2027. Plaintiff secured multi-year state contracts, federal orders, and pending business opportunities, including international opportunities, in reliance on the stability of the distributor relationship. Specifically, at the time of termination, plaintiff had pending or active contracts with various state and local agencies, had submitted bids for federal government orders, and had initiated international sales opportunities for which CTS itself provided written authorization on October 16, 2025. These contracts and opportunities cannot be reassigned or transferred without causing permanent loss. CTF was well aware of plaintiff sales outside Nevada and helped facilitate such sales, including highly publicized emergency supply event in Arizona, where plaintiff was the only distributor capable of delivering products to local law enforcement within the timeframe. All open purchase orders at issue were placed and accepted by CTS with order confirmations issued within 24 hours per Section G of the agreement and confirmed prior to termination notice. Approximately $200,000 in previously accepted but unfulfilled orders remain at issue. Each confirmed purchase order constitutes a standalone contract for the sale of goods, blah, 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 blah. Accepted orders without contractual authorization constitutes anticipatory repudiation and material breach of each individual sales contract. Section P of the agreement authorized cancellations only by a distributor or end user sale, not by CTS. And Section M confirms that all sales are considered final once the order has shipped, which necessarily presupposes that accepted orders will be shipped. The termination provisions in Section X is silent on the fate of accepted orders, contains no obligation extinguishing CTS's duty to fulfill orders accepted prior to termination, and does not grant CTS any right to cancel accepted orders. On information and belief, defendants Jason Wong and Kip Miller engaged in concerted campaign to eliminate plaintiff as a competitor in the less than lethal munitions market. So this is obviously between Arms Unlimited and between, CTS. However, they are saying that Jason Wong is acting in accordance with them to conspire to say, well, actually, you need to cancel $250,000 worth of Arms Unlimited orders to knock them out of the marketplace as a supplier, to get rid of them as competition. That's the allegation, anyways. Here we go. In January 2026, this is at SHOT Show, basically, when I saw Jason, at the request of Jason Wong of Hurricane Butterfly, Nathan Murr of Frontier Resolve LLC in Boise, Idaho, placed an order on plaintiff's retail website for 2 unregulated 37mm smoke signaling rounds totaling $54. These items were clearly advertised as for law enforcement sale only on the website. Wong orchestrated this purchase through a straw purchaser, Nathan Muir, with the specific intent to deceive CTS into believing that plaintiff was making unauthorized sales to non-law enforcement buyers. So he is literally setting up a competitor to violate their agreement so that he can walk in and take all of the sales. That's the allegation, right? On January 20, 2026, the morning of the SHOT Show in Las Vegas, Nevada, 1 hour before plaintiff's scheduled meeting with CTS, Jason Wong hand-delivered the unopened package addressed to Nathan Murr to Nathan Murr to CTS CEO Richard Edge, with the explicit intent to create the false impression that plaintiff was violating law enforcement, sales restrictions, disrupt plaintiff's relationship with CTS, and eliminate Arms Unlimited as a competitor. The timing of Wong's delivery, immediately before plaintiff's scheduled business meeting, was calculated to maximize the deceptive impact this conduct constitutes fraud and was independently tortious. This was part of a pattern similarly conducted by Wong in the prior year, had caused a brief termination that was later reversed upon conversation with Paul Ford. So again, this Jason Wong character, wheelin', dealin', making the girl squealin', or something like that. I forget how the phrase goes, but absolutely dirty tactics at play here. And this is kind of the background of a lot of the bigger dealings, right? We make fun of SIG for being corrupt and incompetent and, giving generals great deals post they accept their handguns or what their military contracts or something like that. But even on the smaller side of things, even in law enforcement, this sort of behavior is very prevalent. It happens all the time. It shouldn't be considered the norm, but it kind of is. And again, this was at SHOT Show. Now, I think I saw Jason on Friday, which is the last day of SHOT Show. Monday is the supplier showcase. So this was like devious. This was devious to explicitly interfere in a third-party contract. Now, again, tortious interference is a crime of which I may have sued another individual for the exact same thing. So, Godspeed to Arms Unlimited in this matter. Kit Miller of LC Action sent numerous emails to Paul Ford and Cody Paul at CTS, falsely accusing plaintiff of not attending trade shows, not visiting customers, and committing territory violations. These statements were false and made with the intent to cause termination of plaintiff's distributor agreement. In fact, plaintiff attended approximately 10 domestic exhibitions in the prior year, including SHOT Show, the NTO Association Conference, along with other industry events where Miller was present and observed plaintiff's participation, at which it was rare to see any other CTS distributors present. Miller knew that these statements were false based on his own first-hand observations at shared industry events and his awareness of plaintiff's market presence. Miller was financially motivated to make these false statements because the elimination of plaintiff as a competitor would allow LC Action to absorb plaintiff's territory, customers, and business, which is precisely what occurred following termination. So because of Jason Wong's actions at SHOT Show 2026, him dropping the package of regulated munitions that allegedly Arms Unlimited sent to a prohibited buyer, which is just anyone not an LE, to the CEO of CTS, getting him to cancel the contract, cancel the business dealings so that he could swoop in and take up all of that business. Very, very, very dirty. Despite the SHOT Show sabotage attempt, CTS CEO Richard Edge and salesman Cody Paul assured plaintiff on January 20th, 2026, meeting that business would continue and that plaintiff simply needed to ensure the retail website issue did not reoccur. Cody Paul and Nicole White further stated that precise territory expansion will be discussed after the show by February 1st, 2026. Yeah, I don't know who let him in. So me and Arrow, we were running around the bottom floor in the police military section, and we're just walking around clean. It's Friday. Everything's dead. Beast had already left for the airport. And so we're just like killing some time. And then there's a Hurricane Butterfly stand. I'm like, oh, that's odd. I know that name. And Jason Wong is just walking around the SHOT Show floor. And I'm like, I thought, there's lots of unsavory characters at SHOT Show, okay? But one of the things you're not supposed to do at SHOT Show is briefcasing, right? So at SHOT Show this year, Lawrence DeMonico of Rare Breed Triggers, he allegedly got kicked out. Him with the ABC IP LLC guy, they got kicked out for handing C&Ds to vendors, right, at SHOT Show, because again, SHOT Show wants vendors to come. So if you're going to use it as a venue to serve them papers or to interfere with their business dealings, that's a big no-no. So if the NSSF wants to look into Jason Wong's future at SHOT Show, I would hope someone would bring this to their attention. He's not in jail. Again, he had pending rape allegations against him and certain accusations, but the charges either were dismissed or he was acquitted of them. I mean, I have the courtroom footage if you want to go over it, but it's not particularly exciting. He also has a lot of friends in law enforcement because that's literally his job. So you can look into some of the backdoor dealings that went in to get him off of charges. Okay, so following the SHOT Show meeting, plaintiff placed orders, had accepted orders, and discussed numerous business opportunities with CTS, all business as usual. Then, on February 13, 2026, Cody Paul emailed Daniel Shamey a termination letter dated February 11th, 2026. So everything's honky-dory. Just don't make sure you're not shipping products to the wrong people. Everything's kosher. 2 weeks after SHOT Show, oh shoot, we're terminating your contract. Keep in mind, this is $1 million a year. So this is a big deal. There's a lot of money at play here with these, even just LTL, less than lethal contracts, okay? The termination letter cited repeated violations of AU's distributor agreement, including ongoing compliance failures and disregard for contractual obligations, but contained no specific instances or factual detail. The email from Cody Paul contained separate instructions that all open orders previously accepted by CTS would be canceled and directed plaintiff to not contact Cody Paul, because the decision was final. So this is a lot of harm caused because let's say I'm a guy, I have contracts with XYZ, law enforcement agency and whatnot. They're open at my distributor, and then my distributor cancels them. Well, I'm going to lose all of these contracts. I might even be in violation for fines or other sort of damages that these police departments might be able to acquire from me, right? As the person who's trying to meet these contracts, who has accepted these contracts. So when my distributor pulls out on me, metaphorically speaking, it's going to leave me in a world of hurt. I'm going to lose all this money. I'm going to lose, a load of product. All right, Jake, is that good for you? I saw you reacting there. I got him.
No.
I got him.
I'm okay, John. Yeah. I
Okay.
get it. Yeah.
Just making sure.
No big deal.
Just making sure I got you there. That zinger. It's a big deal though, right? And again, if you can prove tortious interference, which seems plausible based on the allegations, these are just allegations, of course. Who knows if any of this stuff is actually true? But based on the allegations, if you have a third party interfering with your contracts, big problem. Now, he admits to being in violation of their contract with their territory expansion and doing things internationally and outside of other states, right? However, if you don't enforce contract, it's kind of like copyright law. If you don't enforce your copyright, you can't retroactively pick and choose. You either have to go after everybody or you go after nobody. So again, if you're actively participating in and helping somebody violate your own contract, it's kind of unenforceable at that point. And again, that's going to be up to a judge, up to an arbitrator, however this is going to go. But it makes it a little bit more dicey than just, well, he violated the letter of the law. It's like, well, yeah, but you allowed him to do it for a year. So I don't know, like, what am I supposed to do with that? You helped him do it for a year. It obviously wasn't that big of a deal. And then we have this other contributing factor being Jason Wong inserting himself into the mix. Unwanted insertion by Jason Wong? Wasn't that what he was arrested for in the first place, was unwanted insertion? Anyways, getting himself into the mix where he wasn't invited. Terrible. Ford maintained a personal relationship with Wong and Miller. Sorry, I'll actually back up a bit. Paul Ford, acting to protect competitors, LC Action and Hurricane Butterfly, Jason Wong, who themselves sold outside their designated territories without consequence. So again, it's like, hey, you can't punish me for what everybody else is doing. You either have to punish all of us or you punish none of us, right? That's how it goes. You can't selectively enforce contract law and then use that as a justification for violating our agreement. Abruptly terminated the agreement and canceled all accepted pre-termination orders. On information and belief, Ford maintained a personal relationship with Wong and Miller that went beyond ordinary business dealings. Now, beyond ordinary business dealings, Jason Wong is a prolific procurer of items. In fact, you can look into why he lost his bar certification, because he was a lawyer, for importing Quaaludes from out of country. Jason Wong, that is official. That is not allegations. Jason Wong did import Quaaludes from out of the country, got caught, and lost his law license. All right. So listen, Jason Wong is a prolific procurer of specialty items. So him having a relationship with somebody that goes beyond mere business is, not out of the ordinary. Did it cancel the termination? Wong and Miller that went beyond ordinary business dealings, and Ford's decision to terminate plaintiff's agreement while simultaneously expanding the territories of Wong's and Miller's companies into Nevada was motivated by these personal relationships rather than by CTS's legitimate business interests. Ford's subsequent false statements to plaintiff that Arms Unlimited was violating compliance regulations, statements Ford knew to be untrue based on CTS's own records and the absence of any regulatory citations, further demonstrate that Ford acted adversely to CTS's corporate interests by fabricating justifications for a termination that harmed CTS's fastest growing distributor, right? Which means that he's going to be a competitor to Hurricane Butterfly. Hurricane Butterfly and Action Arms don't want any competitors, so we'll just make this go away. Okay. All right. Arms Unlimited Inc. maintains an active federal firearms and explosive license and has never been cited or had any regulatory compliance issues against those licenses by any federal agencies, including the ATF, that enforce compliance of these license holders. LC Action is a distributor assigned to the territory of California. However, immediately following the termination of Arms Unlimited Distributors Agreement, defendant Paul Ford expanded the territories of defendants LC Action and Hurricane Butterfly to include the entire state of Nevada. So as soon as his license is terminated, his agreement is terminated in Nevada, well, they both as competitors move in, which seems to, suggest some sort of coordination. To include the entire state of Nevada, the precise territory previously assigned to the plaintiff. No additional distributors were assigned to California, a significantly larger, underserved, and more lucrative market with approximately 77,000 sworn officers and a $28 billion combined statewide law enforcement budget compared to Nevada's approximately 14,000 and $1.4 billion combined budget. This selective territory expansion directly effectuated, I think that's how you say that, the co-defendants' plan to eliminate plaintiff as a competitor and expand their own business with Ford's assistance. Plaintiff underwent a full ATF audit in 2025 with no firearm or explosive violations cited. The termination and cancellation of accepted orders violate the agreement, which contains no provision authorizing cancellation of accepted orders upon termination. Section P provides that orders for standard off-the-shelf products may be canceled by a distributor or end user prior to shipment, but does not authorize cancellation by CTS upon termination. Section M states that all sales are considered final once the order is shipped, which necessarily requires shipment of accepted orders. So again, this is going to continue to go on. He's going to ask for money. He's going to ask for damages. He's going to ask for a bunch of other things in this case. And it's going to go before a judge. Is it going to be dismissed? Is it going to move forward? Who exactly knows? But this was sent to me by a kind birdie earlier today. So yes, once again, Jason Wong allegedly putting things where they don't belong. Okay, getting involved in other people's business when maybe he shouldn't. Okay, I'm just saying it's all alleged. We don't know if any of this stuff is true, but maybe there's a bit of a history here. We're not entirely sure about that. How Aryan is Jake? That's a good question. All right, fair enough. There you go. All right.
My heart goes out to everyone in chat tonight.
How does that make you feel, Jake? Reading through that very boring, dry legal document.
I'm gonna be honest, John. TLDR, please.
He didn't get it.
It sounds to me like
following.
It sounds to me like the alleged rapist is not a good guy, which is shocking. I wouldn't have expected that, but sometimes you're just wrong, or sometimes you're wrong.
So are you? Sometimes you are wrong. Are you familiar with Arms Unlimited?
No, I'm not actually. Tell me about it.
They're a big distributor that deals with, law enforcement, military, all that sort of fun stuff. But they also just sell generic stuff. like off the shelf stuff. So you can just go to their
Mhm.
website and buy like cool, hard to get stuff. They have a lot of stuff, high end stuff, low end stuff. They're a big distributor. Okay. CTS, even bigger distributor. Okay. They sell to everybody, they supply everybody. They're the big dog in this space. So they have a contract with them for LE sales in Nevada. However, Arms Unlimited was selling nationwide, and they were also selling international, and CTS knew this. CTS allowed them to sell nationwide and helped them to sell internationally, right? Jason Wong, a competitor with Hurricane Butterfly, as well as the Action Arms, I think is the other one, that's also a competitor to Arms Unlimited, then goes to CTS with a straw purchase that they had made to implicate Arms Unlimited that they were selling LE restricted product to people who were not LE, right? So they are intentionally interfering with a third-party contract, something that they are not involved in, to get Arms Unlimited canceled, to get their contract pulled so that they can take the Nevada space. CTS pulls their contract, pulls Arms Unlimited contract, Jason Wong, Hurricane Butterfly, swoop in and take Nevada. That's how that goes. Now, they're citing that, oh, you were in violation of your agreement, but so was Hurricane Butterfly, so was everybody else involved. Everybody was selling nationwide. So they're selectively enforcing their contract at the behest of a third party, which is like definitional tortious interference, which is a crime. You can't do that. Tortious interference is not cool. So that's the deal here. And of course, it's Jason Wong. So I thought I'd cover it because I talked about him before. So I know a little too much about Jason Wong. Okay, more than I would like to know about Jason.
Yeah, you're a little too intimately involved in the situation. I get it.
No, fortunately, I am not the one intimately involved, but I've talked to some people who were intimately involved, whether they wanted to be or not. Whether they wanted to be. Yeah.
How would you know though, John? You don't know what happened Friday night.
Friday
Did you
night,
wake up
recently?
No, I mean at SHOT Show after you saw him, right? Did you wake up feeling a little fuzzy?
Listen, if you want to hear
hear
about women and unconsensual penetration with like ginger plants and other things, I can tell you stories.
No,
all allegations, of course.
I'm
but if you
okay.
don't want to hear about that, then we can just move on.
I think we can just move on. That's fine.
Yeah, I could go deeper if you want. Jason Wong, 2026.
Ooh.
Little quick story. I think this must have been at one of the bigger trade shows. I don't know who cares about this, but I saw somebody post it in the Discord, so I was like, okay, fine, I'll talk about it. Steiner MPS, they make one of the OG Acro-esque dots, better than the Acro in my opinion, and they're coming out with a Gen 2. It's got a 2032 battery, it's got bigger buttons, and it's more betterer. It looks bigger. I like the MPS. I think the MPS is fine. I think the MPS is a fine dot.
I think it's ugly though.
Uglier than an Acro?
Yeah, actually. It's got all this like weird alien stuff on the side of it. It just, man.
Weird alien stuff. I thought you were into the weird alien stuff.
No, Jonathan, no, I am not. It's just huge and it's got all this weird designs. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan.
Too big for you? Too big for you? Okay.
I'm sure it performs better than the Acro because the Acro is pretty bad from what I hear.
Kind of trash.
It's just, I don't know, man. Something about it is just, it makes me.
All I know is it's from a German company, and Germans can't do anything wrong. Okay, that's what I've heard.
Well,
hey, to any members in the chat, are the emotes working? I did add a couple more because the ones that were voted on last week, they should be added. So let me know if they're actually there. RBL, you were supposed to go to bed or something. You got a new kidney, okay? Mailbox de Glonk. Yeah, no, I've used a MPS a couple times. I think they look nice. I think they're fine. I don't like huge dots like that with tiny windows. To me, it's bad on a pistol because it's like the biggest dot possible with like the smallest window possible. It's like the opposite of what I want on a pistol. But for some reason, they're just shoving them in there. They're putting them on everything. It's like, thank you. I do not want that. Bionicle aesthetic. Yeah, from 2008, dude. Bring me back, please.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, look at that.
Sure.
But look up. It does look like a tumor, like a mailbox just shoved on top. It's even bigger than the Acro.
I don't know, man. I feel like some of that stuff on there is unnecessary too. A lot of those design choices are not necessary. Couldn't they just make it look normal?
Maybe. Oh, Tito's not on there. I thought I got Tito on there. Crap. Cringe. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and move on. This is a sad one, dude. This is retard maxing resulting in the death of 2 pilots. So this is at LaGuardia Airport. Air Canada had a plane that was landing, and there was a fire truck responding to another issue currently happening at the airport. It asked for clearance to cross the road, to cross the runway. It was given clearance by air traffic control. It then proceeds to cross right in the way of the Air Canada flight. So you can see it crossing right there. And it attempts to change direction, but that plane is not switching directions, and a fire truck is also not switching directions. Now, the pilot and first officer were killed on impact. There was a flight attendant who actually was ejected from the plane in her seat. So she was sitting down for landing, strapped into her seat. She was ejected from the plane because the whole front of the plane came apart. The whole front did. However, she survived. So she is still alive in critical condition, or hopefully recovering now. Good.
Isn't there something about that though, from like plane crashes, where the flight attendant seat, the one that faces the other direction, is like the safest seat?
It might be, but again, you can see that the front of the plane, unfortunately, that interacted with the fire truck is completely gone. A lot of people were injured, but only the pilot and first officer were killed, as far as I'm aware right now.
We now know that both the captain and first officer died after the CRJ collided with a fire truck at LaGuardia last night. Additionally, one flight attendant was ejected from the aircraft while still strapped to their seat, although they did survive. We also have ATC recording in the moments leading up to and after the incident. I'll let you take a listen, and then we'll talk about it.
Who's the vehicle needed to cross the runway?
Truck 1 and Company, LaGuardia Tower.
Truck 1 and Company.
Truck 1 and Company, LaGuardia Tower, requesting to cross 4 at Delta.
Truck 1 and Company, cross 4 at Delta.
Truck 1 and Company, crossing 4 at Delta.
Stop, Truck 1, stop. Stop, Truck 1, stop. Stop, Truck 1, stop. Jet 646. Jet 646, I see you collide with vehicle there, just hold position. I know you can't move. The vehicle.
So that is traffic control after giving the go signal, telling the plane to stop, to hold there, which is the pilot and first officer are dead at this point in time, which is very tragic and easily avoidable had the traffic controller done his job, right? Which is, hey, there's a plane landing. No, you absolutely cannot cross. Like 30 seconds. That was it. 10 seconds, 20 seconds. That's it. That's the difference between life and death at an airport when it comes to crossing runways. Now, also, alternatively, I know that the guy is in the driver's seat, obviously, so the plane is on the opposite side from him. But I feel like you should see the flashing lights and coming in. But I mean, it is moving rather fast, and it could have been an off angle. So it's possible it was in his blind spot, and he didn't see it. He did see it when it was way too late.
Yeah,
because you could see him try and veer off.
Yeah, and that could have also been his reaction to the ATC telling him to stop. And it was raining. It was nighttime. It's kind of a crapshoot to like. Yeah, the ATC really messed up on that one.
Yeah.
And I wonder if that was like purely an ATC controller issue, or if they had some kind of like software issue where something wasn't showing correctly. Because that
maybe it was a miscommunication. Maybe he thought he was at a different runway. Maybe he got like the geographer wants. So he was like, oh yeah, you can cross there. No, there's no plane going in there. He's like, oh shit, that's not the right one.
It could have been a ton of things. The pilot could have landed at the wrong runway. That happens sometimes. I mean, there's a lot of different things, and it seems like everything went wrong. And yeah, I guess they'll do an investigation. They'll figure out who exactly messed up here.
Subarctic Psycho says, yeah, the controller messed up, but he did order the truck to stop multiple times. He might have, but I don't know the timing. Was he yelling stop, stop, stop after the truck was in the middle of the road or even up until the point of impact. Right? Like we don't know exactly the timing there, right? Because we don't have a live feed of him in his audio tower versus, superimposed over the truck and the plane hitting each other.
4 at Delta.
Truck 1 and company, cross 4 at Delta.
Truck 1 and company crossing 4 at Delta.
Stop, truck 1, stop. Stop, truck 1, stop. Stop, truck 1, stop. Jet 646. Jet 646, I see you collide with a vehicle there, just hold position. I know you can't move. The vehicles are responding to you now.
It appears the controller gave the fire truck permission to cross runway 4, but then realized too late that the CRJ was already landing there. Beyond that, I won't speculate too much. We now know
it could have
Very
also been the truck thinking they were crossing a certain runway that they weren't. It's very hard to say. Somebody messed up though.
100%. Well, we're going to kind of get into a little bit of rage bait. It's not quite rage bait. There's some funny stories, some interesting stories, definitely some bait in there as well. But we're going to try and get through some of these for your Monday night. See how long you guys can hold up. Now, here we have another situation in which we have a group of individuals encircling a young woman and being very aggressive and threatening, and she feels for her safety, I imagine, and decides to plow through a group of people, and I put that in quotation marks here. So a woman charged with a laundry list of crimes for successfully escaping from black rioters who were terrorizing her and beating on her car in Lexington, Kentucky. Now, the reason why I find this story particularly important is because if this woman gets charged and has the book thrown at her and she gets found guilty, it gives permission for these people to do the same over and over again, which means that they're allowed to threaten you. They're allowed to beat on you. They're allowed to break into your car, possibly rip you out and kill you, right? Because at what point do you have to wait? At what point do you have to wait before you can drive off when they're already assaulting you, beating on you, threatening you? At one point, can you actually just drive forward, right? Because I feel like if you feel threatened for your safety legitimately, which this woman absolutely should, then you should get out of there. Okay, you should try and minimize damage as much as you can, but in this situation, you just have to go. So, for instance, if my wife was out and about and protesters were surrounding her car and beating on her windows and, attempting to gain access to the vehicle, I would tell her to drive, because my wife is not going to be able to defend herself against multiple attackers like this. It is not going to go well, and your vehicle is your only safety that you have. So again, if they want to assault your vehicle, try and get in, try and gain access to you, I believe morally you have a right to defend yourself and get out of that situation with the vehicle, right?
Oh, they about to hit us. Oh my God. Oh no.
So it's hard to see here on this angle, but there's a guy beating on her window over there. They're surrounding her car. They're not allowing her to move. It is a gang of youths, as of course it is. So I honestly can't even pick out the words. I don't know what they're saying. It's unintelligible yelling to me, as far as I'm concerned. We do have multiple angles of this as well.
That's none of our business. That's none of our business. That's none of our business. She about about to really run through. She about to really run through. She really about to run back through.
And I mean, you can see people there are actively chasing her. Like, I don't know what you're supposed to do. Stop? No. Keep it going. They wouldn't let you leave. You feel threatened for your safety. There's dozens of them around you. Keep it moving.
Honestly, the camera woman, shockingly self-aware.
She's like,
saying,
oh yeah, she go run it
yeah,
over.
well, saying, I think it was the camera individual saying, this is none of our business. And then like, yeah, she really about to run on through. At least some of them have the ability to perceive this danger, this impending danger, consequences for actions, perhaps.
Like they were saying it, but nobody actually acted in a way that matched that, right? Because they were all just kind of sitting around, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, she actually did it." She recognized that this was a potential like outcome, but didn't do anything about it.
True. Although the camera person did not get hit. The camera woman.
Oh, look, says chasing her on foot. LOL. Yeah, she was stopping the car and they were running at the car. Correct. So you should not stop the car. Yes, they were absolutely chasing her. If she stopped and got out, they probably would have killed her.
I'm honestly surprised that the Tesla was able to run over people.
Dude, I actually want a recording of the screen because the screen shows like the people around you and whatnot. And it's like bowling pins like falling out of the way.
I'm surprised because I would think they would have a ton of built-in safety mechanisms to prevent you from running into people, especially at that low speed. But who knows? Tesla, I guess Tesla's based now. Who knows?
It actually recognizes skin color. Yeah, so you can see they're chasing her down and she's stopping, so she needs to not do that. Yes, you can absolutely chase somebody down who's in a car, whatever retard posted that. Kill cam on a Tesla.
So why did the cops show up after all of this happened? They weren't
I'm
like,
sorry. I can't listen to any of the babble. Yes, they should not have been blocking an intersection in any way, shape, or form. So
yeah,
here,
but the cops were there. We saw them walk across the camera after this incident occurred. Where were they when the people were like surrounding her vehicle and pounding on the windows?
exactly. Well, of course, they wait for something bad to happen. So actually, here's what did happen. Here's the second angle of this. Now, also probably a bit of a woman moment, because she should be able to just go. Or maybe she's blocked in because there's a car here. But for me, I would be looking for the other way out. So I would be like, I'm going around these people and getting as far away as possible. But there might be a bit of a woman moment going on here where she's just not a particularly good driver. Now, this is post a lot of them surrounding the car, hitting on it, trying to get into the car and whatnot, right? Which you see more over here in the sidebar. But you can see after this, nobody's really hurt, which is incredibly lucky on their part. A couple people got pushed. Nobody got ran over. Then she immediately goes to what I didn't realize at first, 3 police officers. These are police officers chasing him down.
She's too drunk. Why would she do that shit?
And then actually it's a fat bent police officer that's putting the handcuffs on, which I find very ironic. Yeah, 100 out of 10 driving skills. But I mean, in this way, it's actually good that the police officers were there to protect her from the mob. But they should have just broken up the protesters and stopped the whole thing from happening in the first place if they were going to do her job. But no, what's going to happen is that instead of arresting the people causing the mayhem, causing the danger, attempting to, destruction of property, whatever you want to call it, instead of arresting those people, if you try and save yourself and get away from them, you get caught, you get in trouble, you get to go to jail, and you get charged with everything under the sun. Because they don't care about actually enforcing the law equally, they don't care about solving problems. It's to demoralize you and to affect you, right? Because this, again, why I think this is very serious is because if my wife was in a similar situation, I would be like, put down. You don't stop until you get to me or you get to a police officer somewhere safe, right? And that's what you do. Because no, you're not going to trust these animals to be kind with you if they get into your vehicle or take you out.
If I was in charge, President Zorp here, I would give her the Congressional Medal of whatever they gave Charlie Kirk, the highest honor,
The golden spatula for the woman. Now get back in the kitchen.
She gets the Congressional Medal of Womanhood. She's going to be celebrated as being based, and yeah, I don't know if she is based, but you know.
See,
good for her.
Zany says, why wasn't she EDCing? Even if she was, if she shot somebody, it'd be the exact same outcome. Cops come, arrest her, and then she gets arrested for murder, attempted murder, whatever it might be. Right? Because again, you're not allowed to defend yourself. Like Daniel Penny, okay? That's why that was also, I see this almost in the same vein as that, okay? If you restrain a black person from murdering somebody on a subway, you get arrested, you go to jail, you get charged with attempted murder, all that sort of jazz, okay? Because again, they don't care about safety. They care about enforcing societal degradation, I guess. You know, their perverted form of justice, which is just injustice. Somebody should help a girl out, get her the best lawyers possible, and get her off on this, so that we can have a positive precedent set. Chauvin 2.0, possible, yeah, possible. Yeah, they don't want to cause crime. They don't want to stop crime, I think is what you meant to say. They don't want you to stand up for yourself. Yes, that is the point. That is the point. Now, alternatively, what's that?
Yeah, I said Jerob's on the case.
Jerob's on the case.
You know he's already
on it.
looking into it. Okay.
Okay, she is like 11 tiers above what Jared can pull. So, yeah. All right, now let's go to something also equally wacky, much less important, but I find much funnier. Okay. Alan Ritchson is ostensibly a movie star of some sort. I've never seen him in a movie. I know he plays Reacher. I've never seen Reacher. I've never seen he's Thad Castle in Blue Mountain State. I've never seen that either. I just know that he exists. He's a retarded anti-gun, anti-Christian liberal, right? Even though he pretends to be a Christian while saying the most unchristian things possible. And turns out he curb stomped one of his neighbors for driving through his neighborhood. So funny little story here. So Alan Ritchson, the physically imposing lead of the hit series Reacher, has found himself at the center of a real-world confrontation in a quiet Tennessee suburb. A video recently surfaced appearing to show the actor involved in a physical dispute with a neighbor in Nashville on Sunday, March 22nd. The footage captured what looked like the actor engaging with a local resident while two young children, reportedly Alan's sons, watched from their motorbikes nearby. The neighbor involved in the incident, Ronnie Taylor, has alleged that the tension began on Saturday when Ritchson was seen operating a green Kawasaki motorcycle. The claims are essentially that Alan Ritchson here was driving his motorcycle too fast through the neighborhood, okay? As one does. And this neighbor of his asks him to slow down. Alan Ritchson drives at him, and then the neighbor pushes him over on his bike, I think twice, and then Alan decides to beat the shit out of him. So we can look at the footage here from TMZ, which is a trash source, but this is the end state of the altercation with a neighbor recording him. This is Alan Ritchson punching the neighbor in the head while he's on the ground and kind of attempting to finish the job, I guess. A little bit of ground and pound here. And those are Alan's sons, by the way. That's Alan's motorcycle down on the ground, and those are Alan's two sons while he is physically pummeling his neighbor. So what color was neighbor? Well, the neighbor was asking him to slow down in the neighborhood, so you know it was white. Okay, it is a white on white high income crime because again, liberals like Alan Ritchson, They love the black people, the brown people. Would they ever live in a neighborhood with them? No. Hey, this is a very rich, ritzy neighborhood for Alan to play around on his bikes with his kids. Okay. And again, because it's a rich white neighborhood, the neighbor's going to be like, hey, can you slow down? You know, you've been racing around this neighborhood. You've been an obnoxious prick. Could you not do that? Right. So then this starts the physical altercation. He pushes over Alan on the bike. Alan decides to beat him up for it, so on and so forth. Now, Alan has a catastrophic oral loss here. As the altercation is kind of over, he picks up his helmet. They're still yelling at each other. Alan attempts to get on his bike and then drops it again. Again, catastrophic oral loss to drop a bike after beating up your neighbor. Neighbor goes back to his house, still yelling. And again, those are Alan's kids. Alan tries to start the bike. Again, bikers, the gayest genre generation out there. The neighbor is British. Might be. I don't care. We're past the 2-hour mark. Everybody involved is faggots except for the kids, okay? And then the kids just drive off because, again, those are Alan's kids. So, and again, just to replay the important part here is him beating up the neighbor on the ground. And we don't really see what happened before, but allegedly the neighbor was trying to get him to stop racing through the town, through the place where, you know, other kids hang out, other people play.
What's the other bike sitting there? Does the neighbor also have a bike? Like
I mean, that looks like just his bike sitting in front of his house. And again, look at that house. That house is ginormous. Okay, this is a very nice, wealthy neighborhood that they're driving through. Now, we have the full interview here. This is from Colin Rugg. The neighbor who was allegedly punched by actor Alan Richardson. I don't know why you say alleged, like we just see it on camera. He was punched. Explains to TMZ how the incident started, says he told the actor to slow it down. I did push him because he was coming towards me on his bike. He did it again for a second time. I pushed him a second time. And I think the second time he got off his bike and kicked the crap out of me.
It started on Saturday morning and I'm an experienced motorcycle rider. I've been riding bikes all my life. So, you know, from dirt bikes to street bikes and etc. But I'd heard this incestuous revving and speeding through our neighborhood.
Chad Vane says, looks Jewish, don't care. How funny would it be if the most liberal, most performative Alan Richardson was actually just like curb stomping a Jew for getting in his way? Right? It's the meme about them being like secretly the most based people imaginable.
Of the motorcycle. I eventually saw the guy on Saturday. I didn't know who it was. And I sort of like flippantly sort of said, guy, like he was quite a way. And I said, can you just slow it down, please? And then there are numerous people in my neighborhood who caught all of this on Ring doorbells of him speeding through the neighborhood. And on Sunday when I was cleaning.
Yeah, I think he's just British. He's just an old like Gen X British dude. Okay, they just look like that. Okay.
My bike outside my house. He rode past once, twice, and on the second time, I walked out in front of him, and I said, "You've got to stop. Someone's going to get hurt." And it escalated quite quickly from there. I did push him because he was coming towards me on his bike. He did it again for a second time. I pushed him a second time, and I think the second time he got off his bike and it kicked the crap out of me. And you can see he hit me in the back of my head. I went to the ground and covered myself. I've had such a shitty day today, and I don't wish the guy any malice or ill will, but we just don't need people riding through neighborhoods like this. And I just decided, you know, I'm take a stand because someone else.
Yeah, I mean, I know the guy is being a bit of a prick, okay? He's being a bit of a Karen. He's being a male Karen saying, hey, can you slow down in the neighborhood? But listen, okay, we don't actually want street racing through our neighborhoods. If that was actually going on, if Alan was actually being the bigger prick, okay? It's possible for there to be multiple pricks in this situation, okay? And either way it goes, I just like it because Alan is the most performative, nice guy imaginable. But then, of course, if you attempt to get him to stop, he's going to beat the shit out of you in front of his
Do
two
we
kids.
have any of the video of him actually speeding?
Well, again, allegedly. It's all alleged. Whatever happened before is all alleged. Allegedly, Alan came at him. Allegedly, he pushed him. Allegedly, he's been speeding through the neighborhood, and multiple neighbors know about it.
He pushed him off of the bike. Like, that's not
when
alleged.
he came. It is alleged. Like, there's no footage of that. I could say that I shot you on Tuesday, but that's not
right. But he just admitted to it. Like, he admitted that he pushed Alan off of the bike.
right? And again, there's no proof of that happening. Just like if I said that I had shot you on Tuesday, it's not particularly relevant to it. However, again, if footage exists of them speeding, I don't really actually care about the facts in the matter. Okay, I'm merely pointing out the Hollywood faggotry hypocrisy going on here. That's all I care about. The actual material facts, don't particularly care.
I want to point something out. What is that hat behind him hanging on that thingy?
Is that a Make America Great Again hat?
Kind of looks like it.
It does kind of look like it. But then he also has a blue one.
Is
Imagine,
this
no, is it
British
a
guy?
blue American First hat, like a Nick Fuentes hat?
Is this British guy based? What is this? Not the Make
Yeah.
America Great thing, but if he has the America First one, who knows? I don't know. Either way, I don't like to see this because what this is white on white violence, and we're better than that, guys.
Well, it's goy on goy violence, right? Because Alan Richardson works for them, so he's not like a kind of one of us, but not really. I mean, he literally works in the propaganda industry against us. So I don't know if I particularly care.
But it's still white on white violence, John. You know.
Kill traitors before invaders, okay, Jake? All right. Haven't the British learned their lesson about pushing American? That's right. This was actually just American reparations for British tea tax. Sorry, bro. Had to happen to you. Okay, let me look at this real fast. I need to verify this story before I show this on screen. Oh, of course. Okay, of course. Of course it is real. Yeah. Every now and again, I see a post so disturbing. I'm like, that's funny. That can't be real. That's not real. And then you look into it and you're like, damn it. Damn it. It is real. A 14-year-old black teen rapes his 24-year-old white school teacher when she takes a bathroom break. After raping her, the teen decides to kill her and stuff her body in a trash can and dumps it into woods.
24-year-old is seen in released surveillance videos. It's chilling footage of her walking out of the frame and Chisholm seemingly second-guessing himself in the proceeding to follow her into the bathroom. These are the last moments of her life.
So, again,
Prosecutor
14 years old. They often ask, like, when does it become dangerous? When do I become a danger to society? That meme, you know, with a little kid. And it's like 5 years old. I think that's when criminality starts to spike, is about 5. About 5 years old.
say the gloves he brings into the bathroom are evidence of him taking her body and wheeling it to the woods just a few yards away from the school she so loved. It's anticipated that on Wednesday, the jury will be taken to view the crime scenes at Dan. 24-year-old is seen in released surveillance video.
Free my boy. He didn't do nothing, you know, walks in after her. Probably had to take the hoodie off because it was covered in blood or whatever else from his activities in there. Raped, then murdered because he's a retarded, YouTube appropriate word,
14-year-old.
14-year-old. 14-year-old Neanderthal.
He's just a 14-year-old, guys.
Just a 14-year-old. Yeah, and this is correct. Obviously, this happened a while ago, but this is the first time that I'm hearing about it. It's important to, you know, have memories, okay? Because these people didn't die in vain. And you see stories like this just continue to pop up over and over and over and over. Philip Chisholm. Now, this one says 16. Philip Chisholm followed. Now, he might have been 16 at the time of writing the article, post-trial, right? Because if you're delineating or trying to figure out whether you're going to try him as a kid or as an adult, the whole trial process might take a couple of years. So whether he was 14 at the time of attack or 16 at the time of trial, not really sure. Philip Chisholm followed teacher Colleen Ritzer into a school toilet where he strangled her, stabbed her 16 times, and raped her 2 years ago. Yeah, so he was 14 at the time of attack, 14 years old. He was acquitted of a second ramp in which he used a tree branch against her in Woodland where he dumped her body. So, raped a corpse post first rape, post stabbing 16 times.
Used a tree branch against her.
After she was dead.
Interesting.
Chisholm's defense team has claimed he is mentally ill and will appeal. Now, this is important because we're going to see the exact same defense line up here, where it is quite literally, my client is too black and too stupid to understand his actions, therefore he must be acquitted. Because we do have another person, like 2 days ago, that was acquitted of murdering an 8-month-old because he's insane. So he actually can't, he's free as far as I know, murdered a woman and her child, and is free to roam about and do it again because he's black and retarded. They do not deny that he killed the teacher, but insist he cannot be held responsible for his actions. Again, this is not an insane person. This is not a retarded person. What? Retarded, but, you know, if so facto. He goes he follows her in. This is premeditated. He's covering his face from the cameras. Obviously, that's not going to help. Again, he is retarded. He comes out. He's wearing a mask. He's trying to hide the body. This is not, oh, my client is insane, too insane to stand trial. He can't stand trial. Okay, this is a premeditated monster Neanderthal that should be completely done away with. Public executions, yes, please, and thank you. No questions asked. Get him out of here. Absolutely get him out of here. And we have another story that's basically identical to this, which we'll get to in just a second, because I do know that Chud was complaining about super chats, so we're going to get you guys' support and then finish out with our rage bait and a little bit of comedy to end the show as well. Amrite Boy for 2 says, refer to my Ko-Fi for your late and gayness. Over on Ko-Fi, let me see if I can pull that up here. Amorite Boy says, late and gayer than the ass cancer that killed the OnlyFans CEO. True. Rest in piss. Doomslayer becomes a Ko-Fi caffeine creep. Appreciate it. Edge becomes a Ko-Fi caffeine creep. Appreciate it. Edge for 3 says, love the content. Question, how do you achieve the Discord? My username is Vogelman. Well, Bob Vogelman is a very funny name. You sent me a message. I'll get to you. Mitzvot for 3 on Ko-Fi says, check out Rich Tidwell talking about them because he has a lot of info on how they're not actually Jews. They're stolen valor Jews. Yeah, see, that conversation is interesting to me. Just like that GIF is interesting to Jake for reasons that are apparent. But it's not all that materially important, right? Because whether they are Jews or aren't Jews, it's like there's things must be done either way. Barbarian says 21 cents right now into the back of this gentleman's head. I think that is a very cost-effective solution. The slogan should be, and I will vote for any candidate that has this position, 1 bullet, shallow grave, okay? 2028. I'm voting for 1 bullet, shallow grave, 2028. That's my position. Over on Rumble, Bushmaster for 5 says, my wife looked over my shoulder and asked, why are we watching that feet video again? And I had to explain to her that degenerates pay money to see that. That's right, degenerates pay money to see his toes. Baseball Kid drops 2 gifted memberships, and unfortunately for Jake, he drops $20 so that you can enjoy the big toe money. I gotta get the remix up.
This is a song of the summer shit. You know it's funny. Walk on stage with no shoes on. All I need is feet, boy, I'm too gone. Hey, take money, big toe money. This is a song of the summer shit. You know it's funny. Walk on stage with no shoes on. All I need is feet, boy, I'm too gone. My feet feel good. Your feet where they should. Y'all just sitting in the grass with a cigarette. Take money, big toe money. That's a bigger check. Walking in, everybody.
Dude, I can't believe it, Jake. I can't believe it, Jake. But Baseball Kid for another $20 says one more time since Jake is on the stream. Let's hit it.
This is a song of the summer shit. You know it's funny. Walk on stage with no shoes on. All I need is feet, boy, I'm too gone. Hey, take money, big toe money. This is a song of the summer shit. You know it's funny. Walk on stage with no shoes on. All I need is feet, boy, I'm too gone. My feet feel good. Your feet where they should. Y'all just sitting in the grass with a cigarette. Take money, big toe money. That's a bigger check. Walking in, everybody.
Yeah, dude. 4 times in one show, dude. Breaking out the big bucks for Jake's Dogs. Brings all the boys to the yard. Thank you, Around the Fire. I will have to get that up. American for 5 says, thinking about getting a tattoo of Christ on my arm. What's the consensus on if that's cool or not? I haven't gotten a straight answer from anyone. No. I think that tattoos and piercings and almost all forms of self-marking are not great. I mean, you can make an Old Testament argument for that no one should get tattoos. I don't know if that's entirely applicable to us in the modern day, but I almost always think it's more performative than not, you know?
I responded to a super chat. I think it was before the stream even started or as it was starting. And from my point of view, I like tattoos. I even like tattoos with biblical meaning, right? I don't think you should get a tattoo of Jesus on your body because that, to me, that seems a little too far. Seems like you're kind of playing around too much with some stuff you shouldn't.
Are
So,
you Mexican and or in a cartel?
yeah, basically.
Well, you like tattoos on women. That's very different.
Yeah, Zanika said I like
reasons.
tattoos on Latinas, which I'm not gonna
That's
respond to
like
that.
that's like degenerate times degenerate for degeneracy squared, dude. Latinas are gross. Latinas are gross. There's you
Say
think
what
of like
you will,
you
Don.
anybody is like, oh yeah, this is a beautiful Latina. You look at her, look inside, Spanish.
Look inside.
It's like somebody
Jonathan.
says like here's a beautiful woman, and it's like
Open her
Spanish.
up.
Back to a European girl again. Okay, all right. Latinas. Like, does anyone think an actual Mexican girl is attractive? Does anybody out there think an actual Mexican girl is attractive?
I'm losing my Aryan card according to Chad McGill. I'm gonna be that guy, okay? I gotta say it. There are some attractive Latinas, okay?
Well, right,
they
but
do exist.
they're Spanish. But Mexican is like Native American, but in Mexico. You understand that that's what Mexican is. The Spanish who came over there and are the ruling class, like if you look at the ruling class of Mexico,
Mhm.
they're all Spanish. They're all white. Like Canelo Alvarez is Mexican, right? But we all know that Canelo Alvarez is not Mexican, right?
I don't know, John. If I see an attractive lady, I can acknowledge that lady.
Yes, you see a hot lady with a tan who has European physiognomy, and you're like, oh, that's attractive. It's like, yeah, because that's Spanish.
Maybe you're right.
Girl.
You
You're
might be
right.
right.
Mediterranean girls are attractive, Jake. You are correct. JL Gonis for 2 says CZ heavy stream. Gotta be extra late and gay. That's true, dude. I didn't even think about that. Thank you, JL Gonis. Appreciate you, sir. CM Scar for 5 says haven't been able to catch a stream in a bit, dealing with my father in the hospital. Any prayers are appreciated. Christ is king. Christ is king. Christ is king. Scar, I'm sorry to hear that, man. I will be praying for you and your father in the hospital. It is never fun. Especially dealing with your elderly parents, as I have a couple of them fortunately left. But yeah, just try and cherish the time that you have together for now and do what you can. You know, it's a day that comes for all of us, whether we like it or not. Thank you, Scar. Polly B for 5 says death, taxes, Trump always chickens out, and did so again this morning, and John being congenitally tardy, rumored by Curious. I have played a lot of Jake's feet on this stream, so
quite a bit.
I gotta try and beat the allegations there. Nate Teller for 2 says, John, you have a lot of well-wishers here tonight. No, I get death threats from my own audience. I don't even need lefties to send me death threats. Okay, my audience will do it when I'm late for a stream. Okay, which is fine. Again, as I say, you got to hold me accountable. Okay, we hold companies accountable. You got to, call me out for my lateness, for my tardiness. Okay, for my melanated time. Thank you, Nate Teller. Appreciate it.
Call you out for your tardedness.
The death threats comment that takes me back to the old days with Luger Tactical. Just a good little memory.
Oh, he posted a video. He's back to posting. Dog. I watched it the other day. Yeah,
let's go.
I'm thinking I'm back. Get him back on the show.
I'm excited.
Cody Fisher for $20 says W's and Romans for my favorite song. That's right. My heart goes out. Do you go across? Do you go across and out? Yeah, of course. Do you go to shoulder or to your heart? Okay, because you went like above your shoulder. Is it supposed to be above your shoulder? I don't even know. Okay, I'm not I know I'm
no,
like the
no.
board member or something.
So it looks like I'm going to my shoulder, but what I'm actually doing is going to my heart, and
Okay.
I'm sending my heart out to you all.
To everybody in there. Okay.
That's what I'm doing. So
wait, so is Cody asking? Cody, I know you're in the chat. Oh, give me my chocolate princess. Okay, perfect. Jake does dip in the chalky, as we're all well aware here, and here is Candy Owens. Candace Candy Owens, I think is how Jake
You
says
don't get to ask those questions. What's wrong with you, Mom? Why are you so scared?
Jake, your attraction to that woman knows no bounds.
I'm just not going to comment on any of this.
How much would I have to pay her to get her to do that to you live?
What?
You know, to say the line to you live, okay? In this live get together that we're having, you, Candace, me, dinner,
What?
toes.
Toes for dinner?
I'm uncomfortable, John.
Uncomfortable.
I'm in danger.
Yeah.
By the
Sorry,
way,
Hitler. Daddy need chalky milk.
I take the portrait off my wall and turn it around.
That's right.
By the way, in case people were wondering, I saw one person wondering. This is World War II in color on in the background. It's really great aesthetic. It's a good vibe.
Very vibe coded. Lightsport for 2 says, my Jakey, second fave mod behind Logan. That's because Logan likes the Uma, okay? I know how it is, Lightsport. Thank you. Wood Chipper for 2 says, tragic loss or fitting end. For OnlyFans guy, fitting end. Promotes degeneracy, dies by ass cancer. Oops. Everyday American for 10 says, if this does get resolved quickly, I feel this whole thing was just to test out the military at scale against a real adversary to see what needs improvement in case China decides to try and take Taiwan. I don't know if I would say that because their air force is nothing like China or Russia's. They're not near peer. Their air defenses are not near peer in any way, shape, or form. They have a missile program and they have a drone program, and that's really what's keeping them afloat. You know, that's what they have. So I wouldn't really consider them near peer. Closer than Iraq or Afghanistan, but not near peer.
Apparently, their air defenses are good enough to hit our state-of-the-art fighter jet, which is, you know.
Yeah, they did manage to hit an F-35, which again we don't know any details on that because I'm curious if they got a missile lock on or if they got small arms fire, right? If it was running some sort of like closer mission or what, I don't know. We don't know. Yeah, right. Or if it was a Chinese or Russian radar that they bought that got it done. Which is good. Honestly, that is good intel for us to see if they are using advanced Chinese or Russian radar to see how it performs against our F-35s is very important. Amrai Boy for 2 says, rest in peace to everything rubber in your fuel system. Well, yeah, but the car's designed to run 85, so it's fine. Thank you, Amrai Boy. Appreciate it. Zanico for 2 says, I shaved my legs and you didn't bring me on tonight. The night is still young, Zanico. The night is still young. Why did you shave your legs, though? That's a little gay-coded. Everyday American for 5 says, if we do put boots on the ground, we will see attacks here. There's no question. Well, didn't we already have, like, the first one in New York where they threw the bomb that didn't go off at the retard guy?
Yeah, I mean, there's been, like, 4 Islamic attacks in the U.S. since the start. So, I don't know what you call that.
AMR says it was a SAM, probably passive, so just like heat seeking, direct hit. I mean, maybe. I haven't seen any. I don't know where you're sourcing that from. I'd like to know. Polly B for 5 says, Israel, why aren't the Iranians rising up to overthrow the regime? Cue a picture of a giant miasmic cloud of doom from Israeli and American strikes. Yeah, they're not really incentivized when you triple tap one of their girls' schools. I just don't think they like you all that much, you know? Then you see how Israel reacts, and Israel's like, oh, we're literally going to kill all the Western countries, and we need them all to fall before us and worship us. And I'm like, oh, I don't think any of us like you anymore.
If I saw a missile land on my daughter's school and a gigantic plume of smoke and just fire and destruction, and then my TV turns on and it's Bibi Netanyahu telling me to overthrow my government, I don't think I wouldn't be super excited about that.
Yeah, no thank you. No thanks, BB.
No thanks. I'll pass.
Lightsport for 2 says, and for no reason, they got sent to summer camp. Then one day, for no reason at all, they shut down the child brothels. Wood chipper for pedos for 2 says, looks like a bed bug mattress. Oh, talking about the rabbi's hair. Yeah, it's, yeah, not a good look. Jury seller for 2 says, they tried to do that at Mount Sinai too. Create God. Mount Sinai to create God. Are we talking about the third temple, sacrificing the red heifer? What are we talking about with this? Because I mean, there's a lot of it, okay? Trying to trick God as part of your religion is the worst base for humanity, okay? Thank you, Jury Seller. Zany for 2 says, John, will you buy me an RPG 7? Inert, of course. Yes, I will do that for you, Zany Co. Thank you. Central Sans Defense for 2 says, Jake, don't you effing do it and put that on stream? I don't know what he's referring to. Central Sans Defense? What are you talking about? What you talking about? You don't like the drip? Thank you, Ben. Hope you're having a good night. JL Ganas for 2. It begins today. Yeah, I was watching the Ben Steger video, and I think that it would be really funny if they did the opposite of what Sig did, and they were just like, hey guys, just so you know, if you modify a CZ Shadow 2 with all aftermarket internals from Cajun Gunworks, it does increase the likelihood of it going off. And in XYZ situation, it can go off. Like if they were just really honest and like, hey, by the way, this objectively makes your gun unsafe to do this. And they say it begins today. Thank you, JL Ganas. Appreciate it. Sheep Herder for 5 says, what did the gun Jew do this time? And why did anyone trust him to begin with? Well, Reddit karma. I think Reddit karma is what they actually wanted. Thank you very much, Sheep Herder. I just got a Korean email. Like somebody actually in Korea.
Don't open that, Sean.
Yeah, probably got a virus now. It's fine. Chud for 2 says, best low back pressure 30 cal can. Also, Richard Mog Gassy. You got it for you, Chud. Low back pressure 30 cal can. I don't know, whatever Cat's making right now. I don't really deal with a lot of, I don't have any low back pressure 30s. I have the white bread, which is a really heavy can. If I was going to get a 30 cal can though, for like 6.5 Creedmoor or 308, I would actually not go with a low back pressure can, and I would get the Anchor Break Omega 300 is the one. Because I would want to use it for like long range shooting and a bit of recoil reduction. Thank you, Chud. Appreciate it. Cody Fisher for 10 says he word soup as he's talking instantly tells me it's not 100% truth, and it disgusts me. Not dragging Micah, but they need to be upfront and straightforward and fully transparent, which is lacking. Well, that kind of seems to be the case, right? They are back-ending the transparency by being transparent after the mix-up, you know? And that, to me, holds a little bit less weight. It's just not as interesting when you do it after the fact instead of before, right? When you get caught.
Yeah, I think it was extremely retarded, and I didn't like the video at all, and it made me dislike them more. And
oh, really?
Mike is fat. Also, I sent you a pertinent photo in your DMs on Discord if you want to have something to put on screen while you.
Aww.
That was made by Chud Vane. It was a piece of art. He went to bed just a little bit ago, but piece of art.
Jake's revenge moment. Oh, gross. Gross. Around the fire. That's yucky. I ain't pulling that up on stream. That's not even legal for me to pull up on stream, dude. Yuck. But here is the Micah picture in question. Absolutely mandateless. The Sheep Herder for 2 says Jake Toes is the only gun bunny content we endorse. True, dude. Basically the focus strip mascot at this point. Tulip for 5 says, what the fuck does this have to do with Big Toe Money? Big Toe Money is like, it's everything, okay? If you don't know, it's like Jade, okay? Jade is up. It's the year of Jade. It's the year of Big Toe Money. Calling it now. Thank you, Tulip. Amrite Boy for 2 says, Tay-Tay McBussy whispers pickle expert mentioned. What? Oh, we're talking about a beast. I was like, Tay McBussy.
McBussy.
Expert.
Otherwise
That's
known as
good.
Beast, yes.
That's very good. That's great, Amorite boy. Tay McBussy. Thank you. Focus Stream Gooner for 2 says, I can't goon to this legal slop. I know, it's too boring. It's too dry. But we're still going in dry. Tuss the Third for 5 says, I wear size 16 and provide more value per toe than Jake. That's a pretty big shoe, okay?
Cool. Yeah. I mean, email your application to John, focus trip at email.com.
Gmail.com.
And,
Email.com. He's floundering. Make fun of him. Thank you, Tusk. Appreciate that, sir. Cody for 10 says, for the Roman. Yeah. Sorry, my mic's in the way. I tried to get it up. Appreciate you, Cody. No Home for 8 months says, can you read my old name before they went to email? Yours was Ray Polocost, I want to say. It's a really funny name. Ray Polocost. Great name. Thank you, No Home. I think that was yours. Chud McGill for 2 says, waiting for the gassy emote. Can we get a Garand belch? Okay, fine. Whatever, dude. It's 8 seconds. Thank you. Brush Okie over on Ko-Fi for $20. Jake, you know what's coming.
We're going to have to come over to your house and kill you. No two ways about it.
But he does say, we need a poll. Chances of Jake living past the age of 43. Your wish is my command.
We'll see, though. I mean, I hope so. I do have a child. I'd like to, see her grow up, but who knows? If I have to go fight for Israel, probably not.
Well, I'm going to be real with you, Jake. This poll will determine your life.
I'm excited.
I'm
going to vote no on this poll.
Ooh, shoot. It's fluctuating wildly, dude. I'm scared for your future. You don't have a lot of years left, according to this poll.
Is this like that Death Note, right? Is that what that is?
Yeah, it's like that.
That's an anime reference, right? Did I get an anime reference right?
You got the anime reference. I did not finish Death Note. I know it's like the most famous one.
I've never
Me and my
seen
wife
any of
got
it.
like 20 episodes in, and we were like, this is just really boring. We lost interest after Elle died. Yeah, after Elle died. We were like, Sheep Herder for 2 says, Lexington, Kentucky, district attorney is TND, by the way. Does that mean he's based or he is one? Is he based or is he one? Thank you, Sheep Herder. Appreciate it. Zanico for 2 says TND. Thank you. Glock Respecter for 5 says, watch how the police do nothing to help her while she's being accosted by blacks, then immediately rush in to arrest her after she flees to safety. Yes, of course, okay? They are waiting for you to step out of line so that they can punish you. Thank you, Glock Respecter. Cody for 5 says, what a wonderful sound she made with her car. Bless this woman. Well, I think that we should probably actually bless her by donating to her legal fund when it becomes available. Thank you, Cody, because it is an important case. Sheep Herder for 2 says, I've seen enough posting bail and buying ring now. Listen to the single guys in chat, okay? If you wanna help a lady while she's down, while she's vulnerable, kind of shoot your shot, now is a good time, especially if you're loaded. Okay, you can post bail, you got a better shot right now. Thank you, Sheep Herder, appreciate it. Yeah. Chud for 2 says, bikes after you switch lanes 100 yards in front of them. Yeah, bikers being bikers, dude. Every time I see one of them doing crazy stuff on the road, I just want them to die. And that's perhaps not the moral position to have, but every time I see one speeding by at 100, 200, 150 miles an hour, whatever it is, I'm just like, you should die because you're going to get somebody else killed. You're going to get somebody else hurt. And I think you should just remove yourself from the gene pool. Thank you, Chud. Appreciate it. Sheep Herder for 2 says, Alan Richson equals spiritually black. I think he's spiritually gay, but I mean, I do get it as well. He's just kind of a roided out monkey who, like, at the slightest bit of aggression is going to just beat the crap out of you, right? That facade of niceness is like, it's so surface level. As soon as there's any physical altercation, he's going to resort back to just ooga booga, I'ma beat you. Thank you, Sheep Herder. Sheep Herder for another 5 says, the psychiatrist, the defense team, used to push the insanity angle is from New York and is TND eligible. I was thinking that this would be a very Jewish defense. Thank you for that. Chud for 2 says, what about an incredibly gassy tat? That could be peak. I'm a Chud. I hate Nappas. Chud for 2 says, mod tier list when. We know. Okay, listen, it's Logan is S tier, and then everybody else is in D tier. That's just how it goes. Thank you, Chud.
Is that because Logan shares an affinity with horses?
Well, he doesn't share it with me. But it is funny. Zanico for 2 says, logic. Here's a loud logic.
I will not stop screaming until you admit I invented logic.
True. Thank you, Zanico. Sheep Herder for 5 says, rest in piss to the creator of OnlyFans, by the way. Right now, he's looking up at us from Jewish heaven. Yeah, poor Leonid Radvinsky dies at 43. Tragic ass cancer case. And, maybe cancer isn't all that bad. Maybe it's not all that bad. But speaking of cancer, perhaps of societal cancer, I actually agree with Pacific Northwest Gorilla here on this one. So Seattle man who killed pregnant stranger found not guilty by reason of insanity. He says, if you are not capable to be found guilty due to lack of intelligence or lack of sanity, you are not capable of being kept alive. I agree. Okay? If you are too stupid to stand trial for murder, you should be put to pasture, okay? You should be put to other uses, namely fertilizer, I think. Now, this story is
farm equipment, maybe.
This story is worse than, he just killed a random stranger, because I'm gonna keep it real with you, dude. I've seen the statistics. They tend to kill a lot of random strangers. It tends to just happen over and over and over and over and over again. However, in this case, not only did he murder a random passerby, but he also murdered a 8-month-old unborn child. Right? 8 months pregnant with child, random murder by the usual suspect. Let go because he's too insane to stand trial. Now, I think personally that the family of this woman, the husband of this woman, is duty bound, honor bound at least, to find this man and dispense justice, right? I think that is the system has failed you and your family so bad to not only allow this to happen in the first place, but then to set him free afterwards for being too stupid to suffer the consequences of his own actions, okay? And yes, if you want vigilantes, this is how you get vigilantes. Not only do you murder my wife, you murder my 8-month-old unborn son. There is literally hell to pay. There is a open spot in hell awaiting this man. And it's our job to send him there.
So my question about this, let's take it at face value and say he is actually insane. He can't control himself, and he murdered this lady and this unborn child in cold blood, and he just can't help it. Why is the course of action following that to just let him out of prison? Why do they say, okay, well, he's insane, we can't keep him in jail, so we're just going to let him out on the streets? What is the logic there?
The logic is that the black man is doing his job.
Well, my question is now, what's his previous sheet look like? How many?
I'm sure it's horrifying. I'm sure it's horrifying. He did not just randomly, at whatever age he happens to be at, I don't particularly care, just decide, I'm going to murder someone today. I've never done anything bad in my life before. Surely there's no track record of this. And I'm going to commit crimes. I'm going to be violent thug. I'm going to be animal today, just randomly. There was no light switch turned on. It was never on in the first place, right? There was nothing to switch. And it is Seattle. It is a hellhole of liberal justice inversion. It is horrifying to think about. So you can see the footage here. This, damn, I wish we weren't on YouTube. I wish YouTube wasn't so gay and I could just call animals what they are. Runs up 3, 4, 5 shots inside the car.
We're
Murders
almost
the
3
wife.
hours in, John.
I know. But
I mean,
you
what
could
are they
say
gonna
it.
do? What are they
You're
gonna
black.
do?
You're black. I mean,
I
come
am
on.
black. I am black.
I mean, I've said Neanderthal like 10 times, so I hope that's kosher though.
Yeah,
But
I don't.
no, so
I don't want to
he
get
runs
extreme
up.
nuked, so I won't say it.
He runs up, and he just shoots into the Tesla blindly, kills the wife who is 8 months pregnant, the mother of this guy's children. The husband survives, and then just runs off, just completely random, no rhyme, no reason. And it's going to get worse, because if this had just happened, right, this would be horrifying. And again, there's nothing behind the eyes, guys. There's nothing there. He's pushing the term Imago Dei to its limits, okay? Because there are stories that exist out there where I think maybe that's not entirely true. Maybe that's not actually the case. Maybe there is no real sanctity for life, no universal principle at action there. No remorse, no nothing. I'm going to murder you and laugh about it because I find it funny. Now, if we go to the story here, Seattle man who shot and killed a stranger found not guilty by reason of insanity. The man accused of shooting and killing a woman and her unborn child in Belltown in June of 2023, 3 years ago. This man's been waiting for justice. He's never going to get it. He's never going to get his son back, his daughter back, his wife back. Never going to happen. Has been found not guilty by reason of insanity. Cordell Gusby will be sent to a psychiatric hospital like Western State, potentially for the rest of his life. So he gets to spend the rest of his life in a hospital somewhere, maybe even let out someday, right? If he passes a eval by some liberal, progressive psych, then guess what? He gets to be free someday. He gets to be free while your wife is resting in a grave. While you never got to meet your son or daughter. This man's enjoying 3 square meals a day, living in the lap of luxury. Honestly, probably in nicer furnishings than you're allowed to afford in Washington State, hellhole. And you pay taxes to fund it all. Gusby was arrested shortly after the shooting. Court proceedings after the arrest included discussion over his psych evals, which featured a history of hard drug use. Lawyers argued over whether he was competent to stand trial. It's like, listen, this Neanderthal has used too many drugs to be held liable for his actions. Like, it's not a real argument. If somebody's drunk driving, I don't care if they're incapable of controlling themselves or a vehicle. We still hold them fully responsible for their actions. Lack of accountability for blacks in this country is going to cause real race riots, okay? Not burning down of a school or burning down of a Burger King or a Waffle House or something, but it's going to cause real race riots when there is no justice. Both came to the same conclusion. So defense and everybody, both sides of the lawyers came to the same conclusion that he was insane at the time of the crime. Don't care. Justice needs to be served. Gusby's victims were Iana Kwan, a business owner who was 7 months pregnant, and her husband, Sung Kwan. Anna died from her injuries, as did their unborn child. Sung was shot in the arm and survived. I actually couldn't imagine being shot and looking at my pregnant wife bleeding out, 8 months pregnant with one of my children. I actually could not imagine that horrifying scenario playing out. And again, if something like this were to occur, I think that I would be, if the justice system failed to this level, like if you want people to go out there and commit vigilante sprees of violence, this is exactly how you get that. When the system no longer offers justice, there's no reason to maintain the system. None at all. As part of the plea, Gisby was required to acknowledge that he committed the crime. These cases are tragic all around, Charlton said. Obviously, they involve a horrific incident and someone who's severely mentally ill. A horrific incident is a murderer and a Neanderthal. Get rid of him. Gooseby will not go into the care of DSHS. At some point in the future, it may decide to release him, but the King County court system and prosecutors will have a chance to object first. So, yep, he gets to stay in a hospital until they evaluate him as sufficient to live among us once again.
Can I speak freely about this?
You can.
You can just cut it out of the VOD, cut it out of the clip, whatever. If you look up the phrase evil ass nigger, you will find a picture of this man in the dictionary next to it. Every second that these types of people are allowed to stay alive and drain our tax dollars and justice is not served, this man is missing his wife and his unborn child. Every second that that man is left breathing on this earth is a total miscarriage of justice. And I just cannot comprehend being in that man's shoes, seeing that happen to your family. I just don't know what to say, man.
So
it's evil. It is literally pure evil. And we just say, oh, he's just a little kooky. Let's just let him keep on keeping on, do his thing.
I am always conflicted when somebody says that we actually, it's good for us Americans to try and fight for the system and like retake the system, or no, we need to get our people in charge. And when I see something like this, I'm like, what am I supposed to do? Within the confines of the system in this Minecraft server, am I supposed to overthrow every single liberal judge, every single politician, like not only like federal, but state and local as well? Like, think about the amount of force it would take within our system to remove every single one of them. I'm not talking about a couple hundred at the top. I'm talking about a sweeping removal of tens of thousands of people, if not hundreds of thousands of people from positions of power. And I don't see a mechanism within our current paradigm to get that done, which is why I personally am not interested in maintaining the current paradigm.
I agree. Yeah. I mean, we've seen examples of it in history, certain famous examples where, the paradigm shifted and a lot of people were taken out of positions of power. And by all accounts, it seemed to really improve the quality of life of the average citizen. I don't know how within, and this isn't me, in Minecraft, of course, I don't know how we make the current system better within the framework of the current system. Like what you just said, it just doesn't seem possible at this point.
Well, and the system is designed to punish you for even attempting to do so, right? Because like you think it's bad now, or we think it's bad now, but give it like 10 to 20 years and we could have like UK style hate speech laws where you could literally be arrested for what you just said a moment ago.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
and there is no mechanism within the system to totally overhaul it, right? It is designed from the get-go to have a slow degradation over time, and we are at the end state of America. In my opinion, we are at the end state of America, and it is time for a rebirth. And it will be painful, much like the birth pains of a woman. There will be complications, there will be issues along the way. In some ways, it's a bloody mess. But I think that is just the necessary path of history rearing its ugly head once again.
Yeah. And the birth pains are necessary, but in the end, it's a blessing to give birth to a beautiful child. Unlike what this woman went through, where she did not give birth to her child. Her
She
child
was
was
denied.
murdered,
Yeah.
and she was murdered. And I don't think what we're going through right now is like a good alternative. This is evil. It's
Yeah, I'm not
despicable.
interested. I'm not interested in supporting any of these people and any of my tax dollars going here. I am ready for something else. Now, here's a quick little update on a similar story. Jake, actually, you were on last time we talked about this. There was a story of a young 12-year-old girl walking down the street. She gets dragged into the community garden and then gang raped, and they shoved rocks in her mouth while people held her down so she couldn't scream, right? And then her
Yeah.
father comes out looking for her. You remember this story.
Yeah,
Well,
I think that was the last time I said the N-word on your stream, actually.
yeah, it just seems to be a pattern when exposed to enough rage bait, okay? Jake activates like a sleeper cell. But one of them is also not going to be held liable for his crimes for reasons which we'll get into.
Today's hearing, and I'll tell you some more details about what happened. There were two very different outcomes today. 13-year-old Nelson Nunez, the suspect accused of raping the young girl, will remain behind bars in an adult correctional facility.
They're adults. They commit adult crimes. They deserve adult punishments, which again, rape should be a capital punishment. There should be a lot more liberal with our capital punishment, especially when it's like shoving rocks in somebody's mouth while gang raping them. I think that's just a straight one-way ticket to capital punishment.
As he awaits trial. Over the past several days, his attorney had Nunez's family members tell the judge how they would ensure his supervision if he were to be released. The judge was not convinced. However, 12-year-old Josiah Jones, the suspect accused of putting rocks in the young girl's mouth to silence her as she was allegedly being raped by Nelson Nunez, will be allowed to go home as he awaits trial. He'll be on lockdown at home. He'll have to attend virtual school and can't have access to the internet outside of school.
How likely is it, do you think, that kid's parents are going to, I say parents as if there are plural. If it was plural. How realistic is it that you think that parent is going to maintain control of their youth? I'm going to say the odds are 0%. Literally 0%. Nah.
And may not contact the victim or any other defendants. So both suspects are being tried as adults. We spoke to attorneys for both suspects after the ruling.
Now, that doesn't mean he's going to stay in custody forever. It just means for now, as
We need a physiognomy check on Mr. Lawyer Man. Okay, I mean, I don't. I know, but
we are defending the case and resolving the case, he will remain in custody.
My client received a substantial different outcome because he was in substantially a different position. The position he was in was that he was forced to do the things that he did by the other two children as a threat of force. And those were the words of the young victim herself.
So, listen, I'm as much of a victim as you are, rape victim. I was forced to hold you down. That's okay. All right. I don't know about that. I don't know about that one. All right. Well, it never really stops, Jake. The rage bait never ends, especially after a long weekend of doom scrolling. I just happened to find so many wonderful stories to go over. Bear with me a minute. As say something positive, one of you, for a second while I look the story up. Would you have a bit of a white pill somewhere?
My white pill will be that no matter what is happening in this world, whatever we see, these evils, horrors beyond our comprehension, we can take a little bit of solace and comfort in the fact that Christ is King, reigning as King over the whole of the earth, right? Whether you like it or not, he's there, he's King, and he will return, and every knee shall bow and every tongue shall confess that he is Lord. And at the end of the day, it doesn't make everything good that's happening right now, but it gives you a little bit of hope and it points you in the right direction. We have a very clear path and direction that we are moving towards, which is spreading the gospel and conforming to Christ, right? And leading others to conform. And I think I know that is true. All this other uncertainty, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what my part will be in that, but I do know one thing for sure, and it's that Christ is king. So
Win
that's
or
my white
lose, which is
pill.
important.
was
Yeah, I
that?
mean the white win or lose, right? So that's the white pill.
Yeah.
Is that you don't even need to win. You can
Yeah.
lose and still be the victor in the end. Right. The only words you want to hear at the end are "Well done, thy good and faithful servant." Not "Depart from me, I never knew you." That's it. That's what it's all about. This story is again just one of those times where I think StreamYards might be crashing on me. Can you guys still hear me? Okay, sorry, it was not working at all there for a second. All right, so I hate young people. I really do. A group of quote-unquote young people that included a 13-year-old allegedly lured their friend to a secret location so they could murder him and steal his Louis Vuitton handgun. Now, fortunately, this is a blue-on-blue incident, or a black-on-black incident, I should say. But the Louis Vuitton handgun in question is... I actually thought this was a 320, but no, this is a 250. This is the hammer-fired double action only, right? Because there's no rail. It looks like it has a hammer in the back. So this is a P250, which I don't even know if I've ever seen a P250 in person, but it has like a camoed up slide. And, as I look up the story, because I'm like, you see it on Twitter and you're like, is this real? Is this true? Yeah, it just, usual, like, at least it's blue on blue. P290, 250, yeah, whatever it is. Teen lured by quote-unquote children to secret kill location under pretense of attending party. These 4 children on the bottom attend this child, who doesn't look all that bright, to a secret party. We're going to a party, buddy, friendo, so that we can murder you for your gun. Yeah.
Stolen car behavior.
Yeah. A California teen was senselessly murdered by a group of young people. I hate young people who lured him to a secret kill location under the pretense of attending a party, then shot him dead, all because they wanted a Louis Vuitton pistol he had, officials say. It was wrapped with a Louis Vuitton wrap, explained Fresno Police Chief Mindy Costo during a Monday press conference about the gun that 18-year-old Karim Williams was allegedly killed for. I thought they couldn't have guns in California. I thought, surely the gun laws solved the black crime problem.
Oh, do you think these people actually thought it was like real Louis?
I had a wrap on the gun. That is so gay. So, I mean, but these people will murder you for a pair of shoes. Again, this is the thing, like, you and I, we have like this concept of sanctity of life for people, right? Like, we would never needlessly murder someone. Like, we wouldn't even murder someone, right? It would be a justified killing in our ideal scenarios. Or we would think it would be at worst case. We thought it would be justified, but we were actually wrong about it or something. But these people, they just don't seem to have any sanctity of life at all. Like, to kill someone over a $250 handgun because it has colors on it?
Colored handgun.
Well, these are crimes of color, as you'll know, not colored crimes.
You see, John, this happened because of lack of gun control, obviously. In the great state of California, which is known for not having any gun control whatsoever. And these poor teenagers will most definitely be declared mentally unfit to stand trial.
Youths.
Yeah, 6 individuals have been charged in connections with Williams' November 2025 death, including a 13-year-old, 17-year-old. 4 of them were identified. Lisa Smitkamp, Jalon Black, Kwame Prier, Jamari Sconiers, and Josiah Rogers. Those are 3 of the blackest names I have ever heard. And then we got a Josiah Rogers. About 85 IQ points on screen total. Total on screen IQ. And Jake has 40 of that, by the way. He's hogging all the IQ points. But maybe it's our fault, Jake. Maybe I need to reframe this in like a Marxist anti-white power fantasy. Maybe it's our fault for getting in their way. Maybe we shouldn't startle them, you know? Have you ever thought about that, Jake? Maybe it's our fault for our actions or something. Maria Haddon, a Chicago alderwoman, says Sheridan Gorman was murdered because she might have startled the migrant who killed her. Yeah, I think it's our fault. I think you're right. My bad. I startled you. You murdered me. My bad.
All the time, right? And they go out on the pier, they walk around. So the kids were out doing normal things people do in the neighborhood. And it sounds like this might have been a wrong place, wrong time, running into a person who had a gun. They might have startled this person at the end of the pier unintentionally. But that's
maybe the illegal migrant person should not be here, even if they were legal. Actually, I want to preface that the legal ones have to go back as well. They're all going back. Okay, they have been imported against the people's will. They are against the people's interests. They are against the national identity of the country, and they all have to be removed. Legal, illegal, don't particularly care. I don't see color. Legal and illegals are going away. I see color, by the way. Yeah, what is he, a grizzly bear? Same IQ. Same IQ. Like, listen, a migrant with a gun might as well be a grizzly bear. It's seeking its material needs, and that's it. There's nothing behind the eyes. There's no, like, again, this concept of Imago Dei, or made in the image of God, that we have, the sanctity of human life. It is not a universal principle among all cultures and peoples. Other people do not view it the same way, and you need to recognize that. You do need to be aware. It says alderwoman. It's not altarwoman. Oh, right? It's alderwoman? Or altarwoman? What is an altarwoman? Listen, man, there shouldn't be any women around any altars, as far as I'm concerned.
I think an altarwoman is like what Shep does, I think. Sorry, unnecessary shade. I didn't
You're good. You're good. You want another one, Jake? You want the worst one yet, actually?
Sure, why not, John? Let's
Okay,
see.
the worst one yet. Isaiah Hayes raped a 9-month-old baby in Memphis, Tennessee. What do you think society should do with him? And I find it ironic that this Neanderthal has a dove tattoo of a name Emily and a 4 and O, or a 40 tattoo on his neck. And see, when somebody has tattoos, this is kind of what I think of. It's just retarded nonsense scribble posting. Okay, you might as well be a desk in high school or something. Okay, it's nothing. Sure, buddy. Sure, buddy. Anyways, now get off my screen. Memphis man wanted for rape of 9-month-old captured in Jackson. The Jackson Police Department reports that 27-year-old Isaiah Hayes was wanted for multiple severe charges. According to the Jackson Police Department, 27-year-old Isaiah Hayes was taken into custody on Friday morning. The Jackson Police Department reports that Hayes was arrested in connection with the aggravated rape of a 9-month-old baby. The police department claims that Hayes was wanted for multiple severe charges, including sexual exploitation, rape of a child, and conspiracy to commit aggravated rape of a child. Again, I am extremely liberal when it comes to capital punishment. All right? I think that it is a moral, justified use of force of God-given authority to nations and peoples to execute God's judgment amongst the people. And without that, I think we are incurring more judgment from God by allowing these people to continue to exist.
A Memphis man wanted in a child rape case is now in custody after being found in Jackson, Tennessee. According to police, Isaiah Hayes is accused of raping a 9-month-old and is facing several serious charges. Investigators used license plate technology to track him to an apartment where he was arrested without incident. Hayes is now in jail in Jackson and will be brought back to Shelby County.
And again, I'm not really interested in letting, I'm not really interested in letting this guy live. I don't think that's in the public's interest at all for any reason. And when you look into it a little bit further, oh shoot. I mean, the guy has histories as well. It's just, I'm just so uninterested in this. I'm so tired, okay? Listen, boss, I'm tired. I'm tired of dealing with these people. I'm tired of the system that allows them to live. Because, I mean, really what we do here, what our taxes are essentially like a breeding program for them. That is essentially what all welfare is a breeding program for these types of people, right? We subsidize their children, their houses, their food, while we have difficulties continuing our own people. It is meant to destroy us over the long term. And I'm just not interested in continuing this system in any way, shape, or form.
I want to address, we got, who was it? Dogwater talked about, I think, if he spends any real time inside, he will be dealt with. I understand the meme of, like, you know, you go to prison as a child sex offender and then you get beat, you get killed, basically. I don't really think that happens as much as you think it does. I think what happens is they put them in prison and they go into like a protective wing, a protective custody, where they're just with all the other people who also rape kids. So no, they're not. That's not justice. Okay, putting them in jail where they might get beat by other prisoners is not justice. In this circumstance, for very rare circumstances, I almost advocate for an unjust standard. I think it would be appropriate to maybe end the entire lineage, you know, the whole family tree, you know, just take a nice vertical cut out of the family tree. Because there's something really wrong here, you know, and I don't think we need to see any more of that. There's
nope.
It's you get this anger that's like you just can't even comprehend this stuff, and these people are just doing this. They just do this shit like it's another fucking Tuesday.
I think physical castration is necessary.
No. They're dead.
No castration, Richard. We're beyond castration.
No, that comes first.
No, these are the types of things where you just erase the lineage. It's gone. See you later. Get rid of it. It's not working out. Okay.
Yeah, no, I think I'm not interested. It needs to be swift, and it needs to be, I would argue, humane, just because the point is to remove the person. The point isn't for us to gain any pleasure from the action itself. It is literal justice, okay? It's not vengeance. It's not personal, but it is justice in its truest form, okay? And whether that's, and it should be public in my opinion as well. So whether that's public execution, be a firing squad, hanging, whatever it might be, it needs to be quick, humane, and in a public setting so that people see what happens when somebody violates the law. And it's not just like the laws in some sort of like, this guy didn't cross the road. This guy wasn't jaywalking. He aggravated, raped a 9-month-old, which again should be instant death sentence. If the cops that had arrested him had just curb stomped him to death, I would not have any problem with that, even though that would be outside the normative means of justice. That would still be the correct outcome. The correct outcome has been achieved in a less than ideal manner.
Yeah, I mean, I think back to like a biblical story. I don't remember the exact part in the Bible where it talks about this, but there was it was back in the old days, OG Israel. God was commanding them, you know, to go in, you know, destroy some people groups and not take anything, right? And then there was a gentleman during one of these events who took some of the plunder from these people, and God was like, "Hey, someone in your midst took some stuff," and eventually they figured out who it was. He had it buried in his house, and for the sin of that man, for his sin of taking these spoils from this battle that God told him not to, his entire family, Amalekites, I'm not sure exactly who it was, but yeah, his whole family was killed. They killed his whole family. They destroyed his house. Now this is me being angry because when I see something like a 9-month-old got raped by this chimpanzee, it really bothers me. It really grinds my gears. I don't know, man. It's just, it is evil beyond comprehension. And I don't know why we put up with this stuff.
Well, that's the thing. And if you allow evil to propagate within your nation, it's the same thing as like letting sin reside within yourself and letting it grow like a cancer, like whether it's lust, sloth, wrath, whatever it might be, rage, whatever sin that you might have within yourself. It's the same thing on a larger scale inside of a nation. So when we allow this sort of behavior to propagate throughout the nation, it's like a cancer, and it is going to bring on real judgment in some way, shape, or form. And there is a such thing as righteous anger, and there is just justice needs to be dispensed. Okay, it must be dispensed. Your bones cry out for it, the people call for it, and when there is no justice, a reckoning is coming. And that's what it is. I think truly, if I was granted the ability to fix things tomorrow with ultimate power, applying a harsher punishment, a more immediate punishment, and just holding people to account would solve 90% of our country's ilks, right? I mean, most of the offenders would be dead. Our prison population would 10x overnight. We would repatriate 100 million people, and suddenly the country starts to look more like it used to in a lot of ways. But that's not going to happen. It's not going to be overnight. It's not going to be the snap of the fingers. It's going to be a slow march day by day with you. It starts as you, the individual, you as part of your family, you as part of your community, and as your larger nation, which means that we all need each other in this, because I'm going to keep it real with you. If I'm alone by myself and I got 20 people banging on my car, not a lot I can do at that point in time. When we're alone, we're weak, right? When we're not together, when we're not united in our goals and our ideals and our morality, it's not going to work out. It's going to take every single one of us and millions more to get the job done. And it's not going to happen overnight. It's going to be a long, slow, sludgy march. A lot of it's going to be extremely boring, extremely tedious. It's going to be reading your Bible every day. It's going to be working out every day. It's going to be working harder at your job to earn money for you and your family. It's going to be, brainstorming. How do I get ahead in life? How do I put myself in a position of power? How do I advance not only my own goals, but the goals of my people and my nation? It's going to be a lot of mundane days over and over and over again, but you have to do it. You have to accept the grind. You have to accept the struggle, and you have to just keep getting after it every single day. That's it. And you can't be demoralized. You can't be sad. You can't be blackpilled, because that is the loss. You did lose. You took yourself out of the fight. Congratulations, without anybody even having to throw a punch at you. The dating market, it sucks ass. It does. It's awful. It's horrible out there. Still got to keep at it. Still got to figure out a way forward. Do whatever you can. You think it's terrible? It's going to be worse later on. The only easy day was yesterday when it comes to any of this stuff. You think the housing market is bad? Yeah, no, I'm in that boat with you. It sucks. You think the job market is bad? Yep, it sucks. You think the economy can't get worse? It definitely can. All right, so today is a good day to try and get ahead in any way, shape, or form, and it's going to be multifactorial. It can't just be one thing, okay? Learn your skills, get better at everything, and just don't waste your time, because time is the only thing we have, and it's probably not on our side. All right. Well, let me get to the last of these, and we are going to hop out for the night. Cody Fisher, Pretend, says Joel 3, 9-11, which is proclaim this among the nations, prepare for war, rouse the warriors, let all the fighting men draw near and attack, beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weakling say, I am strong. Come quickly, all you nations from every side, and assemble there. Bring down your warriors, Lord. And then Ecclesiastes 4:12. Though one may be overpowered, two can defend themselves, and a cord of 3 strands is not quickly broken. Christ is king. Thank you very much, Cody. I appreciate that, sir. Sheep Herder for 2 says, the truth is the game was rigged from the start. Yes, but not in a defeatist way. Ko-Fi over in... Oh, sorry. Punish Paul over on Ko-Fi says, the only toes I care about are Grozes. They were promised to me 3,000 years ago. Sometimes in my dreams, I can even taste them like little candies. Now, that is, unfortunately, I know that reference because that is Girls Frontline 2, which I have been paid to play on stream before. Barbarian, for Christ is King, says, all debts of the soul will be paid in full upon his return. One way or the other, yes, sir. Every knee shall bend. Thank you, Barbarian. I appreciate that. All right. Cody, for another 2, says, for the correct term from Jake. Thank you, Cody. Appreciate that. Gep Gekadal for 2 says, a lot of people got a DEI. That's true. A lot of people got to go. Zandy for 2 says, John, don't underestimate what I do for a Leupold Mark IV. Well, so here's the thing. I also think it is unwise to surround yourself with even white people or Europeans who are retarded in the same way. I think it is a danger to yourself and your family, and like loose cannons are not good for anyone. Okay. This is not a time for lone wolves doing stupid things and getting entire groups in trouble. This is not that time. We got to be a little smarter than that. So I know that you're joking, obviously, because it's funny in context, but I have absolutely cut people out of my life who I thought were a danger to myself or my family because they were loose cannons, and that is something you should also do. Chud for 2 says the rage bait is spiking my cortisol, bro. Well, it should. I think that is, again, the correct response to injustice should be a rage, right? There's a sense of injustice within all of us because we have a conscience, right? And the closer that's aligned to Christ, the more injustice should truly bother us. Not injustice in some sort of gay race politics, equity, black women need to be lifted up way, but I mean true injustice. Get it out for 2 says, CO Buddy says that they have their own wing in prison. Yeah, when it comes to pedos, they keep them quarantined from the rest, so they just gotta hang out with each other and have butt sex all day.
I think they keep them with the police officers. Like the officers who get arrested.
Oh, they're in the same area with them? You got pedos and cops together, damn. Jeep Herder for 2 says, we're all going to make it, Roman bros. We are, eventually, one way or the other, and that's okay. And that's okay. Even if it goes bad, it still goes good. Chud for 2 says, honestly, just hop on some peptides and work out. See, I don't even think you need to do the peptides. You don't need to look max. You don't need to hit yourself in the head with a hammer. You need to have like really basic hygiene. Work on your cardio, okay? Nothing will look better than you being lean. That's it. Like if you're overweight, no amount of deadlifting or, big shoulders is going to help the fact that you weigh too much. Just do your cardio, get in shape. And I mean, honestly, all fighting is cardio at the base level. So cardio is king. Thank you, Chud. I know it's not exciting, but yeah, you don't need to do the gay looks maxing and doing all the random crap. John, PayPal me $30,000. No, I don't think so. Unless you did my taxes, and then I would trust whatever you said. Okay, I made $500,000 this year. Great, thanks. Appreciate that. All right, Jake, Richard, thank you guys very much for hanging out tonight, putting up with the nonsense, the rage bait, and everything else in between. Jake, what would you like to shout out before we get out of here tonight?
Yeah, just reiterate my white pill moment of Christ is King, and he wins no matter what. And then also shout out to my boy RBL. I'm really happy for him. He's been going through a lot, and he's got a long road ahead of him with the kidney transplant, but it is always exciting and encouraging to see a homie pulling through something like that. So that's all I got.
Based, yes. And I'm surprised too, because RBL didn't even have to steal the kidney.
No, he didn't even have to steal it. Someone just gave it to him. Crazy.
Dub White, that is a joke in reference to Tactical Toolbox, who allegedly owes the IRS $500,000. I do not. That is not me. No, I'm not flexing on you saying that I made $500,000. That is not accurate. Not accurate. That's a joke. That's a joke. Yeah, Logan, dude, you're 3.5 hours late. What's your problem, dog? Richard, what do you got, homie?
I was just going to say, if you have Arrow do your taxes, you're probably going to owe the IRS $500,000 like Tactical Toolbox, but you already made the joke and explained it, so that's no longer going to be funny. Yeah, if you guys aren't aware, I do streams every once in a while. Come on over, hop in, say hey. Much appreciated. Thanks for hanging out.
Absolutely. I'm dropping the link for Richard Cranium, Richard's Headspace, for his channel in the YouTube and Rumble link. Go over there, click on the link, hit subscribe while you're there. But, ladies and gentlemen, that was a very long, very depressing stream at the end. There was some fun stuff in there, but mostly depresso espresso. So, with that out of the way, gentlemen, I do want to thank all of you for hanging out, for being with us 3.5 hours into a live stream on a Monday night. I hope that you guys are looking forward to the week, that you have something exciting. Whatever happens in Iran, whatever happens within our own government, whatever happens, just know that Christ is king and that in the end, we do have eternal victory, right? And so with that, we should be fearless. We should be bold. We should be outspoken, because there's nothing they can do to us, right? They can harm our mortal bodies. They can do what they will with our finances and our reputation, but all that stuff is dust, right? On a long enough time scale, all this stuff here, all the material goods, all the things that they can do to you, it's just going to be nothing in the long run. The only thing that's eternal is your soul, and your place with Christ as King. So with all of that out of the way, gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. I hope you all enjoy. I will see you in the next one. God bless. Godspeed. Christ is King.
Du hast mich Mossad, du hast mich Mossad, we're occupied by Zog.